Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuff and things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants. So, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Good morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. That would make me Glenn. That would make him Griffin. It's spring break in our house. School is a really good spring break where they do Thursday and Friday of this week and then all of next week.
Wow.
I don't get it.
Well, you gotta respect
I guess
whatever this weekend is.
Yes, Easter.
Yeah, Easter. That one.
That's the one. Yeah, but why next week?
Because you're celebrating.
Sure. So the kids started coming in and hopping on top of me at,
Oh, because Easter.
5 in the morning. 5 in the morning, I wake up and jump on my father. That's the way that it went.
Is that a real song, or
The 5. That's the
or was that, I
song.
thought that was off the dome for a second.
They used that for the Park Heights Strut. That's the
okay.
song. The 5 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I don't know all the words, but
It's not jump on.
I wake up and
pop.
fight for my earning, I believe is the next.
Okay.
I actually don't know originally who did that song. And I want to say it's a remix that they use in all the Park Heights Struts videos, but I don't know all the facts. I'm just a man passing it along because that's where my kids started jumping on top of me this morning. So to hell with spring break. In hindsight, I regret the fact that I didn't just say they could come to work with me and maybe they could just sleep in and that's the problem that my wife has is that she won't just let them go to bed later. Like she still has them go to bed. Yeah, this is the song. This is the one. It's a jam. This is the one they use in all the Park Heights Strut videos that were on social for forever. And I actually don't know if this might be a handmade remix. But yes, that beat, that yeah, this is clearly someone else's.
This isn't the right
well, no,
one?
I mean it's the right that beat is definitely the beat.
They made it their own. I see what you're
yes,
saying.
but they've made their own version of it.
This is Big Will for anyone.
Yeah,
I don't even know if anyone can hear it.
And Big Will might be amazing, might be incredible, but that's not the song. It's just his sort of own version of the song. The beat, however, is correct. Anyway, what I was saying is, Mrs. Clark should just let the boys go to bed at 11 on a night like this.
Well, then it becomes a habit. You can't do that.
You can do it for spring break. It's fine.
What time do they go to bed over the summer?
Over the summer, we definitely let them go to bed later. This is I'm really diving in deep on this on a day where we have a lot more things to do. We have a problem in our house. For those that don't know, Mrs. Clark and I live on a horse farm. You'll be stunned to learn, ain't got nothing to do with me. I am not, no.
I thought you were a number one horse guy.
Mrs. Clark has ridden her horses her entire life. That's her thing. And so she likes to wake up at like 4 in the morning to go feed the horses or turn them out or, I don't know, dance with them, whatever it is that she does.
Right?
I don't know what she does. But she wakes up legitimately at 4 in the morning to go do those things. So she likes to go to bed by like 8 o'clock.
Nice.
And so because of that, she likes the idea of the boys going to bed at the same time. In no world is she like, I can go to bed and then you can put the boys to bed. Because some nights I'm not there, right? Like last night I had a Stevenson lacrosse game, so I wasn't there. So in her world, well, I'm not staying up later to let the boys go to bed later. I'm not trusting them to put themselves to bed. They have to go to bed when I go to bed. So because of that, at 4 in the morning, they're Mexican jumping
I thought it was 5
beans.
a.m.
Whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Now I'm
like,
starting to...
It's
I don't
early.
know how much of this...
Griffin, it's early. Easy over there.
Maybe
It's
like
not 4.
7:30.
She wakes up at 4. They wake up at about 5 or 6. Somewhere between 5 and 6.
Why don't they help
start
with
waking up.
the horses?
There have been times where apparently they've been up and she's taken them down there to help with
Okay.
the horses. That's apparently occurred a few times over the years. Your boy is the exact opposite. I am a night owl. I am grinding, I'm writing, I'm prepping, I'm doing all of those things because there are less things bothering you at 11 o'clock at night. I'm not dealing with anybody texting or calling or anything like that. Can focus, get some work done. So I'm typically, like in bed by 1. That's more my strategy. Be awake at 8. That's my thought process. So we have some conflict when things like this occur. Spring break, a pox on you. We didn't get a week and a half. When I was a kid, that wasn't a thing. We didn't get a week and a half.
We got like 4 days.
Yeah.
And it was
like including the weekend.
Yeah, including the weekend. Yeah, it was like
I'm saying we got like
Friday,
2 days.
Monday.
Yes. That's exactly what it was. We got like 2 days off, but my kids go to a Catholic school, so I guess, as Drew pointed out, this is Holy Week. So
Well, if this is Holy Week.
yeah, then what's next week? I don't get it. This is gonna be hell. Hell dealing with this for another week. And why? And that's what I said to him too. Like,
maybe you can put them to like
do
good
these
work.
kids know that means that they got to stay in school a week later?
I don't care.
Like,
They-
no.
they-
At some point.
Well, this is a good week for them because they can just do mock drafts all week.
Right. Great point.
And
Great point. They
they'll
can
just
focus
load up
on
the mock
draft
draft
yeah,
machine
They can
and
load that up, the simulator, and
they're
just do
gonna
it
get one
all
right.
hours of the day. But like, if somebody came
That's
to
what
me,
I do.
imagine trying to explain, hey, you're off next week, and instead you could be off on June 6th, but now you got to go to school until like June 13th in order to have next week off. Nonsense. Hi. This has nothing to do with anything. Just what I'm dealing with in my life and why it is that I'm feeling a little
Got it. So you're
little
saying
skittish
you only
this
got
morning.
about 5,
at most.
6 hours. Okay.
At most. It was
Poor thing.
yeah. Coming up on the program today, Ryan O'Hearn's going to join us. He had a home run last night as the Orioles won a baseball game. See if they can do something they haven't done yet this year.
Back to back.
Consecutive baseball games. That's what they're going for tonight, which is why is tonight a night game? I'm still confused by that. This screams afternoon game today, but
Well, it's a short trip for Cleveland.
they're going to Pittsburgh apparently.
yes.
But still, play this game in the afternoon. Anyway, we will talk to Ryan O'Hearn a little bit later
Does it
on
affect
this morning.
anything that you have?
No,
going on,
it's just
or?
annoying. It really is. That's all. Well, now I guess I got to take my kids got practice with Steve
okay.
Johnson tonight, so I got to
it's
take
Steve's
him.
fault.
Yeah, this is Steve's fault. No, I got to take him to that. If it was an afternoon game, then
Then you'd be able to watch the
yeah,
entirety of the game.
like now I'm gonna be sitting there looking at it on my phone, and then my son. This is how it goes.
Great pitch.
This is my son starts practice at 5:30, so it goes 5:30 to 7. Game starts
Oh,
at
okay.
6:30.
All right, I mean,
right?
you won't miss that much.
I won't miss. Well, no, because then I got to drive home after that. But like the point is, at 6:30, they have 3 stations when you practice with Steve, and the third one is the like actual pitching, right? And so that one's going to be the one where he's going to be super distracted by, because as soon as the game starts, he's going to start bugging me. And this is the way it goes. Dad, what's the score? 0-0. What inning?
Top of the first.
Top or bottom? Who's up? How many outs?
Steven Kwan's up. They haven't thrown a pitch to him yet.
Balls and strikes. Like he wants everything that could be on the screen. He wants, and then literally he will ask me what he thinks has been enough time for a pitch. And what happened on that pitch?
Umpire made a bad call.
It's annoying.
It was a strike, but he called it a ball.
Ryan O'Hearn joins us. We're going to talk some NFL draft today. Jordan Phillips, absolute freakish defensive lineman from the University of Maryland. He's getting ready to hear his name called in the NFL draft. He's going to join us. We'll also talk draft with Mike Renner from CBS Sports, formerly of PFF. He will join us to give his thoughts on what the Ravens should do at 27. And Tyler Tejada is going to join us this morning, who kind of surprised, I think, everybody. Maybe not Pat Scarry. Maybe he knew all along. And to be fair, when Tyler Tejada was on with us the last time, he said, look, man, money's not really that big of a thing to me. It's about loyalty. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, that was why he was answering why he stayed last year. And I was like, right, that's one thing. Now you're the CAA Player of the Year. You're going to go ahead and secure that bag. And, in fact, maybe they could have used him at Maryland, frankly.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. He is sticking around at Towson, and so we will talk to him about that. So all that coming up here on a Thursday edition of the program. I say a lot of candidates, a handful of candidates last night. Obviously, Heston Kjerstad with the exceptional catch in right field, the one point of the game where things like kind of got nervy, and that could have been maybe even as many as 2 runs if he doesn't make that catch, and that would have made it a 1-run game. Dean Kramer was obviously better, not a quality start, but as Griffin likes to say, in a world where you're never going to have a quality start again, this is
Needed it, Dean.
we talked about it. There was a non-zero. If that had gone sideways, that they could have explored the fact that Dean Kramer still had an option. I would have been surprised by that, but if that had gone sideways and it had just been a disaster to start the season, I don't know that it was a guarantee that Dean Kramer was going to make his next start. I still don't know what they're
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful
Very weird. Like they have to make a roster move of some sort. We think for Brandon Young, but it could be for anybody. Somebody's got to go. And maybe it's just Keegan Aiken. They just say, sorry, Chief.
Or Keegan Aiken starts.
Or Keegan Aiken starts. Yeah, I guess that's possible. I guess it's not possible. It's not possible.
I mean, who knows
It's
what he's
not.
doing? Did he pitch one Tuesday? Or did he pitch yesterday?
I thought he pitched. Didn't he pitch last night?
I think yeah. He
Before Cano? Oh, no, he pitched. He came in when they didn't want to go to Batista after
That's
the
right.
Orioles scored 4 more
Okay,
runs to make it an 8-1 game.
Okay, so probably not. I mean, you could probably have
Yeah, I don't
3
think
innings
so.
in him.
I don't think he's going to start.
You don't use him today and tomorrow.
But they got to do something, and there's very few options of where they can do that something. And so while it's easy to say, hey, why would they move a starting pitcher? You need a 5th starting pitcher. Well, as I pointed out, you don't need a 5th starting pitcher again until next Saturday. So it buys you another week to figure out what that might be. So figure it out. Anyway, the moral of the story is Dean Kramer was good. Heston Kjerstad was good. But this team needed a big hit in a bad way. And while Jackson Holliday still only has 1 hit in like the last month,
No,
it was
weak.
a big one.
Weak.
Yeah.
Give him some credit.
Yeah. He was 0 for 17 coming in, and then
Yeah, 0 for 7.
that was the only hit he
all
had last night.
Yeah.
So he's still only 1 for
8,
but
20, 1 for 20.
that stead. It was a damn big one. Jackson Holliday, the grand slam that opened things up last night. He is man of the match, 2nd man of the match of the season. Jackson Holliday back up on
Holliday drives one to deep left center.
day by the Brigance Brigade. Support the Brigance Brigade with their annual 5.7K race and 1.57-mile fun walk Saturday, April 26th. The day will be full of racing, walking, and family fun, starting at the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore, and it all supports the fight against ALS. On top of the race and walk, there will also be a kids' fun run, sack races, a freeze dance competition, moon bounce, face painting, and cupcake bar, plus free zoo admission is included with your registration. Brunch from Jimmy's Famous Seafood can be added to your registration for $15, or you can add it day of. So race, play, and make lasting memories together. Register now, brigancebrigade.org. Yes, just a pleasant night at the ballpark. Apparently Jackson Holliday says he was inspired by having his own dog there for Bark at the Park night, so
Shout out Coconut.
I would say maybe you invite Jackson Holliday's dog to every game.
Oh, come on, show Coconut some respect. Coconut. Invite Coconut.
If he has other dogs, invite them. Or is it just Coconut that inspires
Well,
him?
Coconut's the only one he shouted out, so I guess Coconut's the only one that matters if he has
Certainly
multiple.
Coconut was the only one that was there last night. I guess that part is relevant in some way for this conversation. There's not a whole lot else more to say about it. It was just a pleasant night. You do have that, like, imagine, because when it was off the bat, I did not know that was going to go for Jackson Holliday. It carried a little bit. Off the bat, I thought it was going to be
like that same spot that like Mateo flew out like
yeah,
yesterday.
like he
or
sort of had
Tuesday,
that. And that doesn't mean you don't take anything away from it. A home run's a home run, a grand slam's a grand slam. That's the way that it goes.
And you got to remember Jackson Holliday's pretty strong.
He is. There's no question about it. Put some muscle on this offseason. We all saw the same thing. I guess I say that to say I don't know what if Jackson Holliday if it hadn't cleared the fence, right? Like, what if that was where is this team? I don't know. We always say baseball's a weird sport. Between that, Heston Kjerstad's catch, could you look back and say these are moments that maybe brought this team to life a little bit? Maybe. Ramon Laureano obviously hitting a home run. Was he the one? All you guys who doubted him, all you doubters of Ramon Laureano.
Still doubt him. I don't know.
All you doubters. Don't you feel silly now? I don't know. I have no idea if those can be moments and get the team going because you can't ever in the moment know that. But sometimes you get 3 weeks down the road and you look back and you say, wow, it all kind of started with that, didn't it? And perhaps that combination of Heston Kjerstad's catch and Jackson Holliday's grand slam, we'll look back in 3 weeks and say, wow, that was a moment. In that moment, things started to turn for the Orioles. But they got to go prove that. And I think most of us still have kind of our doubts about the construction of the team and our doubts about lots of things. Tyler O'Neill was scratched from the lineup last night with a sore neck. A little bit different than some of the other issues that Tyler O'Neill has dealt with in his career, which were more lower body. So I think there was a lot of that panic, right? Like, oh, Tyler O'Neill's hurt again. Well, this is maybe, or it could just be that he missed a game and he'll be fine. We'll see where that goes. I don't think it's worth overreacting to just yet. I get it. Tyler O'Neill, injuries have been a part of his story for a very long time. I completely understand why it is that there are certain reactions to it, but I got nothing more to say about it whatsoever. It's just right now he missed a game. That's all I can do. And it did lead to Ramon Laureano playing, and it did lead to Ramon Laureano hitting a home run. So there's that. In his pregame press conference yesterday, I did think there was an interesting response. And I don't know who asked the question, but the question was, Charlie Morton said yesterday that a good way for a team or players to get rid of a rut is to be, quote, irrational, unquote, and have supreme confidence. Do you agree with that mindset? And Brandon Hyde's response, I think a lot of young players have a tough time letting at-bats go or games go, and things can kind of steamroll. I think that happened last year in the second half a lot. We kind of let our offense struggle for a while, or guys struggle for a while because of recent, and they had a tough time turning the page or forgetting about what happened yesterday, especially young, really, really good players. They expect so much of themselves, and they feel a lot of internal and external pressure. You just try to get them to relax as much as possible. That's what I feel like with our club right now. We have a lot of guys that put a ton of pressure on themselves, and they feel it. You just try to get them to believe in themselves. There's a reason why you went first round. There's a reason why you're here in the big leagues already. There's a reason why we won 90-plus games and 100-plus games back-to-back years because of contributions that you've made. They're only going to get better, but you have to be able to slow down the game a little bit and know you're going to have bad games and tough weeks and forget about it quickly and not be so internal. And all of that, kind of sounds about right. You know what I mean? Like young players, they go through this. They've never failed before. They don't know how to handle it when they fail. They press. They try to get it all back. Like in one swing, I want to be Adley Rutschman again. In one swing, I want to be the guy that no one could have ever gotten out. And then it drags on you because that one swing doesn't work, and then that one at-bat doesn't work, and then that one game doesn't work, and then that 1 week doesn't work, and then that one, and it just keeps going. And, you're interested in, like, what is their mental performance plan? Like, how are they handling that? But it's baseball. And in the end, the only thing that gets you there is success, right? And like, you can't get back to being Adley Rutschman by wanting to get back to being Adley Rutschman or by having someone talk to you about how you are Adley Rutschman. Or there's nothing that can do it other than actually doing it. That's it. And it's the thing that it's very difficult to quantify because we all have the feelings that we have about this team, and we all have them for good reason. But at some point, it might just be that this week Adley Rutschman starts to become Adley Rutschman again. Or Jackson Holliday becomes the guy that we thought he was going to be. It's why when the question comes up, are you more concerned about the offense or the pitching? I've continued to say, I get the question, but the answer to me is easy. Those guys can wake up and be those guys. They or may not. It might very well be that we, 2 years from now, say, boy, Jackson Holliday was not worthy of being the number 1 overall pick in that draft. It's possible. But we think he has the skill set. He proved it at every level through the minors. This is the first place where we've really had a question about it. I've got every reason to think that Jackson Holliday is going to be a stud. Maybe he won't be a Hall of Fame caliber player, but I've got every reason to believe that he's going to be a difference maker. So when that question has come up, the answer to me has been easy. Yes, I'm more concerned about the pitching than about the offense, because on the flip side, this to me is as good as it's going to get for Dean Kramer. Is that every now I say it's good. I think he might have it.
Innings.
He'll have a 7-inning start at him at some point, yes.
2.
Do you think he'll have 2?
I bet.
Okay.
For sure, actually.
Drew is going to make a bet about, 9 quality starts or something. It was so absurd. It was so absurd what Drew was prepared to do yesterday. I'm really mad that I forgot to, pin him down and say, let's do it. Let's do it. You go right ahead, because there was no chance in hell that that's going to occur. Not because Dean Kramer could still have a good season and not have that number of quality starts. It just doesn't happen. What?
I'm counting how many quality starts he had last year.
Yeah. Yeah, you stop me when you get there. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
7.
7?
8.
You sure?
9.
Really?
And 9. He was at exactly 9 last year.
How about that?
A push for Drew.
Yeah, correct. Exactly right.
A big push.
Oh, my God, a statement push. Really.
He went 7 innings thrice. 3
Thrice
times he
last
went 7 innings.
Yes, I'm more concerned about the pitching than I am about the offense. But as we've all alluded to, that could be mitigated should you get guys back and they're the best versions of themselves, and should the trajectory of some of these guys continue to go upwards, like Tomo Sagano. One win does not cure everything. In the same way that we say good baseball teams will go through stretches where they go 6-10, bad baseball teams win baseball games. Win baseball games emphatically. It's kind of the problem with overreacting to any one result during the course of a season. It's why I continue to say that you can't really take a big picture look at this team until Memorial Day at the earliest. Because it's the first time you have enough of a sample size to be able to say something, that there is a trend. We are, of course, overreacting to the combination of being 4 games under 500 post June 20th last year and a sluggish start to the season. Understandable. The first thing they need to do is win back-to-back baseball games. Win a series. Little things. That's the first box that needs to be checked for the Orioles. And I'm not trying to... Again, when you say that, you can't say, this is a must-win game. That's absurd. It's laughable to say something like that. But it does start to feel like, hey, don't deal with that anymore. It's big to not deal with it. Maybe they lose tonight, but then they go win all 3 against the Reds, and by the weekend they don't have to deal with it, right? But still, nice. just don't. Well, I would prefer they win all 4, frankly. I'm not going to sign up for losing tonight. But to the point, and by the way, if there was somebody you wanted to have a tiebreaker over, it would probably be the Guardians, not the Reds. You might end up fighting for something in the playoffs against the Guardians. But it keeps saying, you can't say this is critical or anything. There's a word here. Get the monkey off your back of at least consecutive wins and a series win. Just so that you don't have to answer any more questions about it, just so it's not a thing, so you don't have to walk around the clubhouse. Dude, isn't it weird that we haven't won a series yet? Like, you don't have to think about it anymore. Get those bad vibes gone. And so in that way, tonight is a significant baseball game to me. But I say that to be very clear. It's not must win is incorrect. Lord, is it incorrect. It ain't close. But it would be pleasant to not have to think about those topics again. And, of course, as we always say, you're as good as your next starting pitcher. And, hey, man, Tomo Sagano's one of the guys that's been less awful. So, you know, they've got that going for them, which is nice. I did not watch much of the basketball last night. I think because
I did not watch any of it.
I was trying to figure out why.
Is it because the Orioles won? We were in a good mood. We were like,
yeah, we didn't feel the need to have
like
something
have, like,
else
have
to
a
look
different
at.
taste in our mouth? Yeah.
Maybe a little bit that. I also, I don't know. I think like there was less must watch about the teams involved. Like there's no
definitely.
Steph Curry playing last night. To be fair, I didn't really watch a lot of Magic Hawks. Now I think that was more because the Orioles were on at the same time, but.
Yeah, when you have Steph Curry versus John Morant.
Right, like you're far more inclined to look at that than you are to look at
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie's a complicated dude, but like he is still a fun basketball player.
Yeah,
but it's just less must watch about last night. Also, I do think that like part of it really is like you can sell yourself that the Warriors could go from the play-in tournament to being a threat in the West. You can. Do I think it's likely? Not. Likely is probably not the word that I would use, but the Rockets have never done anything. We have no idea how the Rockets are going to handle themselves in the postseason. You can absolutely sell yourself on the idea that the Warriors can be a threat in the West, despite the fact that they play in the play-in tournament. The teams that played last night, none of them are teams that you think are a threat to do anything. I mean, you're watching sub-500 teams. So I do think that had something to do with it. In general, I don't like the play-in tournament. This year was a little bit different because Steph Curry was involved and Jimmy Butler. And so, like, when they play, we're going to be inclined to watch. This year, the other games last night, not so much. The Heat will go on to face the Hawks to try to be the 8th seed in the East, and the Mavericks will face the Grizzlies to try to be the 8th seed in the West. And
ticket prices are telling you how much these games matter. The Mavericks Memphis game tomorrow night, $15 is the get-in price.
It's sort of like people complaining about the attendance at the Wild Card Series last year. This isn't a thing. It's just not.
I wonder how much the Golden State one, because that looked
I'm
like.
I'm sure the Golden State one was different because again, it involves Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. Like that their product is must watch. Those two guys on the floor together, and the Warriors for the most part have played really good basketball over the last couple of months. But the concept of the play-in tournament being must watch, must attend is very similar to the wild card series. Like, we have not decided that as a society. We have not said, boy, gotta be there.
Except for San Diego, because
they've adopted the Padres because it's all they have. Like, they are hell-bent rock and roll when it comes to the Padres. But the rest of baseball, as we pointed out, it wasn't just in Baltimore, it was in Houston, where, they've been really good. Like, really good. Like, winning World Series good. And I would say it's kind of the same concept for the wild card series. Like, we're not or for the play-in tournament. This isn't the playoffs. The NBA is actually telling you in that case. In baseball, they want you to believe the wild card series is the playoffs. The NBA is actually going to the extent of you're not allowed to call this the playoffs, which is kind of hilarious. Like, why wouldn't
why we're doing it?
But that brand is good. The playoffs is a good brand.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want that brand associated with these things to try to lift this thing? Like, that's the weird, I don't know, it's the weird spot about all of that. But, yeah, I can't lie and pretend that I watched any of it last night. And then I just want to add one more thought here before we grab our first break. There's been a lot of, like, kind of Panic at the Disco, and it comes on the tail end of the back and forth between Kevin Willard and Mike Loxley and the whole thing about what was going on at Maryland. Maryland football's had a handful of players enter the transfer portal this week. And it's led to, as is typical, a lot of people that don't really follow college football or know anything about Maryland football, people that are more passive, hey, they're the college football program in the area, so I'm going to throw something out on. It's led to a lot of this, like, what's going on down there? And, it's snarky comments like, glad that's where all the money's going and stuff along those lines. I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday alone, I believe the number was 700 college football players
Did see that number getting thrown around.
entered the transfer portal.
Yeah. Or somebody reported it, yeah.
I wish I could remember who
Max
it was.
Olson. More than 700 FBS players hit the portal on Wednesday. That's
700.
yes.
700 college football players entered the transfer portal. Max Olson, who covers college football for ESPN. 700. This is just how it works now. This is the quote-unquote new normal. And in the same way, I'll give Mike Locksley credit for this, because I remember like the first time there was panic about some Maryland players leaving. There was a highly recruited defensive lineman, and I wish I could remember what his name was, that transferred out like the first year of the transfer portal. And there was a lot of response to it.
Everybody was like freaking out.
And Mike Locksley had told me privately, and then later kind of acknowledged publicly, we were fine with him going. He wasn't in a good place here. And as Mike Locksley says, to his credit over and over again, that this is how it works. The transfer portal taketh and the transfer portal giveth. It's the thing about overreacting to the number of players. We enjoyed talking to Micah Saunders yesterday. I'm to understand that we're going to have Isaiah Watts on the program tomorrow.
Elijah Saunders.
What did I say?
You
Micah?
said Micah.
Who is Micah Saunders?
I don't know.
Do I know Micah
You want Micah
Saunders?
Parsons? Is that what's...
I don't know, but I must know somebody. I don't know. It's like what I did yesterday where I made Greg Penn an offensive tackle for a second. I have no idea what
Maybe
the
he
hell
wants
happened
to be.
there.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you know something we don't.
Did you apologize for that? Did you send him a text?
No, I
Could you
did not.
please
I
send him a
will.
text?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he noticed. He might be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
I just like to make sure that he's aware that I do feel bad about that. But you're going to get players. This hullabaloo about how the transfer portal has ended college sports is objectively hilarious, because has one major college basketball team ever we're out of guys. We're not going to be able to play next year. There's going to be no sorry everybody, there's going to be no Clemson basketball next year because we just don't have any players. We're panicking about nothing. Now, again, it's different, and I certainly, as someone who grew up getting to as great as it was to watch Maryland win a national championship, it was greater because Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter had been there for 4 years. Steve Blake was there for 3 years at that point. Chris Wilcox for 2. You were watching guys that you had spent time with, invested, bought jerseys, gotten to know, all of those things. It made it more fun in that era of basketball. The NBA draft started to change that already, where guys just weren't. You would get a great player, they'd be there for a year and gone. You're never getting that back. But this notion that you can't get players, I'm. When somebody says, my God, look at the job Buzz Williams is doing in the transfer portal. Well, yeah, he's certainly getting players. I have no idea what the team is going to look like. I couldn't possibly tell you. But he's landing basketball players because they need somewhere to play. The Jacksonville Jaguars never have a problem signing free agents every year, right? Every year, they manage to get somebody because they got to play somewhere. Somebody's got to give them the money. It hasn't made the Jacksonville Jaguars a good football team more frequently than not. This hullabaloo, things are clearly great in College Park right now. They're about to land someone else's transfer because 700 football players entered the transfer portal yesterday. I am to understand over 1,000 are in the transfer portal as we speak. So Maryland's lost 4 or 5. There are going to be 4 or 5 they're going to be able to grab out of the portal. And it's weird. And we'd love a world where your program is just so great that no one ever wants to leave. And I can't tell you what's going to happen with some of the guys. I have no idea. But this thing where we're just not adjusting, where we're overreacting to every little thing, you're going to get used to it. This is the normal. And it ain't just at Maryland. It's at a lot of places. Penn State's got guys in the transfer portal right now. Ohio State's got guys in the transfer portal right now. They might be better football players. But I get it. They have more depth at those places, so it's what it is. But Maryland is going to find guys maybe from those schools. It might very well be that someone who was kind of squeezed out at Penn State just wants to know that they're going to go somewhere and be a starter definitively. And Maryland's going to say, well, you know what's really weird? We just lost our left guard. We could use a left guard starter. You ready to go? Got it. And they're going to find a match. This is how the system works now. And that's not me guaranteeing you that Maryland football is going to be good next year, because Lord knows, more frequently than not, they haven't been good. It's that we're just not educated about the topic. We see this, or we hear one particular person who's not used to it overreact to it and say, do the Brian Windhorst thing. What's going on at Maryland football? Well, the answer is what's going on everywhere else. 1,000 football players want to be somewhere else. That means there's 1,000 football players available that may or may not be able to help you. So just something that I wanted to get off my chest because I've seen a lot of it. Tyler Tejada, he did not enter the transfer portal.
Nice.
He's sticking around because the culture at Towson basketball is the place to be, apparently.
Well, hey.
Talk to him about that decision when we come back in. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high-fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at BaltimoreGolfAcademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Take it back. Take it back. Apparently Tyler Tejada is transferring out of this segment. We always give everybody one. That's the way that it works. Apparently Tyler Tejada needs to move to tomorrow, and we just found that out as I was promoting that we were about to talk to Tyler Tejada. So we'll give him that opportunity. Everybody gets one. It's the old George W. Bush thing. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, but we won't get fooled again. That's the way that it works around here. Fool me twice, we don't get fooled again.
Your favorite president, obviously.
I used to have a good W. I mean, because you used to hear him frequently. Like, it's been a long time since George W. has been in my life, but I used to have a decent W, and that was always my favorite. I use that so often. George W. Bush, love that man. Fool me once. There's an old saying in Tennessee.
I think in Tennessee.
I know it's in Texas. I think in Tennessee. It says,
why did he say?
Fool me once, shame on. And then he
did he give
panicked.
the speech in Tennessee?
Fool me once. I don't know. Maybe.
Is that why you had to
maybe
make it Tennessee?
Fool me once. Can you see if we can find the audio of that? It's my favorite. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, we can't get fooled again. Love that. Love it. God bless him. I mean, the war crimes and all, that's a different conversation. I'm not going to get involved with that, but hey, man. Guy was an entertainer.
Because we're trying to figure out how best to make the world a peaceful place. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you.
The panicking. You could.
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Fool me one time. And then J. Cole. I only
you
hear
gotta
J.
understand
Cole
the nature
after
of the
this.
regime.
Because the
Oh God!
The No Role Model song. And
if you say so.
You're not a big J. Cole guy.
I was never a big J. Cole guy.
Oh my gosh,
I was never a big J. Cole guy.
Man, when I was in
high
school.
My boy AJ Francis loved J. Cole and tried to get me to go. He tried to get me to go to Tacoma, Washington, when he was playing for the Seahawks. He was home and he was buying J. Cole tickets for the show at I think it was the Tacoma Dome. And I was asking him what he was doing because he was like hanging out with us one day, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I got to get these tickets. They're on sale right now." And I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "J. Cole." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And he's like, "Yeah, why don't you come out for the show?" And I was like, "What? You want me to fly to Seattle?"
Yeah.
And again, he was really just suggesting I come hang out. That was the suggestion. And I'm terrible at that. Like I just don't have time to. Our buddy Aaron Oster bugs me all the time about getting out to Vegas, and I really want to get out there. WrestleMania is out there this weekend, and he's like, you could be hanging out with R-Truth, doing an event with R-Truth this weekend, who's my singular favorite professional wrestler. Like, I love that man so much. I just never have the time because I'll be at the Live Casino and Hotel inside Sports and Social for the Ultimate Ring Showdown at Sports and Social Saturday and Sunday night. Starting at 7 o'clock each night. Great giveaways. We'll be doing trivia between matches. Going to have, because everybody knows, if you're a professional wrestling fan, the thing that you're looking for is free rounds of golf. And we're going to have some free rounds of golf to be given.
Nice.
We got a lot of great prizes. Some food and drink specials. And watch all of the action on their 100-foot media wall, where they'll also have the basketball and hockey playoffs on because they have lots of screens, but centered screen will be Mania from Vegas. And so make sure you come join us as we'll be there Saturday and Sunday night starting at 7 o'clock for the Ultimate Ring Showdown at Sports and Social. But yes, that's part of the reason why I'm not able to get out to Vegas, and I feel bad because I got friends all over the place that are like, and when are you coming out to see us? And then it becomes like I got too many, and so it's easier to do none. Like, it's easier to.
You can't go and not see something.
Like, I have an ex, and she and her wife, true story, now live in San Diego. And they're always like, dude, why wouldn't you talk about how much you love San Diego? And I do. It's My second favorite American city besides New Orleans. Like New Orleans 1, San Diego 2.
How many times have you been to San Diego?
I used to go every summer when I was young.
Wow.
It's a weird thing. My parents went to
do what?
This is a true story. My parents went to a church, and the church did like I think they called it a mission trip, where you would go to Mexico and build houses. But the deal was, like, that was we want you to do that, and that was fun. I enjoyed that. But you would get to spend the 3 days before and the 3 days after in San Diego.
Gotcha.
Oh, man, San Diego's the best. Oh, it's the best. And so then after I stopped doing that, because, you'll be surprised to know that didn't. I mean, I try to do a lot of nice things, but the houses in Mexico part, I haven't been able to keep up with that.
You think they're doing okay on their own? Is that
I guess, yeah, right. They don't need me. They don't need me. I mean, I was the stucco king, don't get me wrong. But I still love San Diego so much that when I was living in Arizona, I was trying to find excuses to make it was 6-hour drive to San Diego. Oh, I loved it. Loved that city. It's the best. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about, and I don't know what it had to do with anything. Oh, Tyler Tejada can't join us. That's really what just happened here. Sure. That's really what just occurred. Is a long way of me saying. Can you do a quick this is the problem. The problem with doing fighting words early in the show is I don't want to chase everybody off.
Yeah, I can do 14 minutes.
No, not 14 minutes.
That's what we got.
No. You got to do this tight because I don't want people leaving. We got Rhino Hearn's about to join us.
Why would anyone leave when we're talking fighting?
Yeah. Sound like LA Knight right now. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's Fighting Words with Griffin Bass.
All right, everybody in Miami was saying it on Saturday. Oh, Patty the Batty. You got a big finish over Michael Chandler. That is probably the most notable, I think, result. I mean, Alexander Volkan. I mean, it's hard to. I think just because Patty the Batty has more universal appeal to the masses. Alexander Volkanovski defeated Diego Lopez in the featherweight. Title fight, so he is once again atop the featherweight division, and everybody's putting out their featherweight Mount Rushmores, and it's there's a very strong argument for Alexander Volkanovski to be the best 145er ever, maybe I mean really strong argument for him to be the best 145 ever in the UFC. But him, Demetrius Johnson, Jose Aldo, it's one of those three. As the greatest ever, in Volkanovski now has a chance to start his second title reign here with a very dominant win over Diego Lopez. But the fight before that was Patty the Batty. Patty Pimblett defeated Michael Chandler. He submitted him in the third. I think it was a submission because he beat the crap out of him. His face was all bloody. And early on it became clear it was going to be a matter of when, not if he was gonna finish Michael Chandler, and he did. A big cut across, I think it was his forehead. I think he had him cut on the eye. His face was covered in blood, and then he finally got him to the ground, and it was a very very impressive performance from old Patty Pimblett. I talked about it on last Thursday. He has a chance here to go from this is kind of a gimmicky guy.
Right.
He's got a funny British accent, and he's
the silly haircut,
right,
the whole
exactly.
thing. Right.
To this dude is a contender. I mean, he's been a contender, but this is a top 5 guy in the division, and that's what he is now. Okay, they did officially rule it a knockout. Because he was like some ground and pound on top of him. But yeah, I mean, he outstruck Chandler by 100 strikes, and in the 3 minutes into the third round is when he officially got the finish there, and Michael Chandler just got beat up, man. So we're trying to figure out what's next. I mean, because the lightweight division, this is 155, is the most stacked division in the UFC here. It seems like Ilia Topuria has vacated the 145 belt. That's why we had a 145 title fight on Saturday, because he wants to go fight Islam Makhachev, and I believe that fight is going to happen. And so we're trying to figure out, what to do next, what the next fight is underneath the title fight in 145. So you got Charles Oliveira, who is coming off a win over Michael Chandler as well. You got Justin Gaethje, you got Dustin Poirier, who we're not really sure what Dustin wants to do. He's coming off a win as well. I think over Benoit Saint Denis was his last fight. But he's also kind of talked about retirement because he's kind of the oldest of that trio. or at least been around the longest of the day. They've all been around so long. So we're trying to figure out, Ilia Topuria apparently went on Joe Rogan's podcast this week and said that he thinks Patty should fight Justin Gaethje. I mean, again, you can't make a bad fight in lightweight, which is the great part. So it's very exciting. I mean, Patty the Batty is a dude, and he needs to be shown a lot of respect, and it's a pretty cool story, just the rise that he's had. And slowly climbing the ranks, and he's arrived. He's here.
They also need stars.
That too, yeah. I mean,
they need stars with crossover appeal, and they need it to be not just forced. Like, we're telling you this is a star with crossover appeal when they're not. They need people that are actually relevant and can get some attention, and that people outside of the hardcore fight fans would care about, and that aren't quite as problematic. And I don't know enough about Paddy Pimblett to know if there are more problematic things about him.
Not that I've seen. I mean, yeah, he seems like, obviously,
you just need normal.
Right.
That's
exactly.
really all you need. Is just don't be a Nazi. Like,
yeah.
Let's start with that. Don't be a Nazi. I still think it's going to be difficult for the UFC because they've gone so far down the road of we're for Donald Trump people and nobody else.
So he's still not the most.
It's hard to get more average. Like, does watching this sport require me to also worship at the altar of the President of the United States?
Right. And well, hopefully Patty the Batty is, because, I mean, obviously he has zero. Like, that's the cool thing is that the top two guys that won, neither of them have any connection to the United States here, so they did not care about the person sitting 5 feet from the ring.
And it's not even to say they don't have to be anti. It's just that, like, you've got to have some room for people that just kind of don't care.
Right.
Like, that just aren't into politics. That just, I don't want to deal with any of this. I don't want to be pro, anti, nothing. You've got to have room for those people. So, hopefully, for their sake, I don't give a rat's ass because you know how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, but for their sake, hopefully, these are people that can bring some more. The Paddy Pimblett can bring some more, normal.
Yeah. I mean, and then you have when you have Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. Neither of them obviously are American, and those are the top. Those are the number 1 and 2 pound for pound guys. Alex Volkanovski probably third right now. Like, that's.
It's tough. It's tough because those aren't guys that have a lot of crossover appeal, though. Yeah. That's kind of the issue. Like, you're looking for someone with crossover appeal that isn't a Nazi.
Yeah.
Like, isn't a. And I'm not saying that. People are going to hear that and be like, "You saying everybody likes Donald Trump?" No, I'm saying they're actual Nazis that the UFC has had to deal with.
Speaking of the Nazi, he got choked out. That I think that was what my confusion with how the finish happened, because I needed Gene Silva to get a knockout. He ended up submitting Bryce Mitchell in the second round, because the bet I gave out was Gene Silva by knockout. If you happen to bet him by sub, you're a more wealthy man. Gene Silva got put Bryce Mitchell. I mean, he was toying with him the whole way. Like, it was again, Bryce Mitchell's the guy Glenn was referencing, and thinks the world is flat, and Gene Silva was, mocking him throughout the pre-fight pressers and stuff, bringing globes to the press conferences and trying to explain to him. Which, I mean, and this guy's also very in a very interesting case, because he's Brazilian. He doesn't speak. I mean, he speaks a little bit of English. But I mean, he only speaks Portuguese, and he's already got a massive following just because he's one of the fighting nerds. He's one of the guys that every time he fights, he wins, and every time he wins, it's in spectacular fashion. I mean, he was just piecing up Bryce Mitchell and finally got him to the ground. And it just, I mean, it looked like he was toying with food. Like, he was jumping on the cage and, like, hanging on the cage and, like, come on, hey, come on, try to take me down. And he was, like, sticking his leg out. Go ahead, try to take me down. And I mean, he was just messing with him the whole way, and finally just decided that it was time to choke him out in the second round, and that's when he did it. So Gene Silva got a big win. Patricio Pitbull in his UFC debut, coming over from from Bellator, did not fare very well. Yair Rodriguez made pretty unanimous decision through 3 rounds. An easy win for him. Dominic Reyes got a big knockout over Nikita Krylov, so that's cool to see Dominic Reyes still with plenty of knockout power.
We're getting,
and those are the Jim Miller took a loss. He lost to Chase Hooper, the young 25.
We've gone too far. We've gone too far.
But yeah, I think it's an exciting time for those are the top 2 divisions, 145 and 155, and I think they've got a lot of stars that are still up and coming, and they've got guys that everyone's happy. Everyone likes as champions as well. well. So I think those two divisions are in a pretty good place. They're off. The UFC is off this week. They'll be back next week.
No show this week, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not anything.
Nothing.
I think the PFL is this weekend. PFL tomorrow night from Orlando. So you check that out if for everyone that needs their fighting fix. The guy that got knocked out, remember that spinning back kick?
Sort of
like during COVID when they were in the Apex, and like the guy caught his kick and then he like flipped and knocked out that guy. The guy that got knocked out is fighting. So if anybody really wants to watch that, that'll be on ESPN tomorrow night for the PFL. That's really it. Again, boxing's been kind of slow. I don't know why.
It's somebody brought up last week that we didn't really spend much time talking about George Foreman, and that's fair. And I do kind of feel bad about that. I actually had a few interactions with George Foreman over the years because he was a happy radio guest. Like he was somebody that would give you his number and call one anytime. And because of the grill, he had like insane crossover appeal. And people would be like, "Wow, you're having George Foreman on," and they didn't even know anything about him as a fighter. I know his memorial service was this week. An icon, like in boxing for sure, and someone whose story was phenomenal. Came back, decided to fight again late in his career and later in his life. Frankly, he was well into his 40s and found success again. I apologize that we didn't really do that much. I'm not a boxer. I'm not here to, I'm not the perfect person to give context for George Foreman, but George Foreman was a very kind person and someone who, like, whenever I started working on a new show, one of the first things I knew is I could get George Foreman on. Like, because he would answer the phone every time, and he was always happy to come on shows. So, safe home, George Foreman. And that'll be it for fighting news, which is good because there is actually some significant sports media news this morning.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And I'll just give that a minute as Ryan O'Hearn's about to join us. ESPN has announced that Lee Corso is officially retiring from College Game Day, and he's going to do one final show, apparently, week 1. I don't know if is it week 1 or week 0?
That's week 1 because week 0 would be, I think, the prior Saturday, and I assume
I don't know. Did you have to see the date?
Dublin. Yeah, it's August 30th.
Okay.
Is the final
All right,
show.
yeah, that's Labor Day weekend. So, yeah, that'll be Lee Corso's final show. Will be the first major week of college football this year. I think everybody knows that Lee Corso, for the last 5 or so years, it's been very difficult since right before the pandemic. He's not even done all the shows. When he's there, he doesn't have a ton to offer. He's just there to be there, and that's okay. And I think a lot of people have really enjoyed the way that Kirk Herbstreit has kind of treated him like his father and tried to show him kindness and empathy late in his life, and I think that's been really good content. Lee Corso, an absolute king in sports television. It's hard to remember that like college game day was a thing that like existed, and then all of a sudden they found something with Chris Fowler hosting and Lee Corso, and it became the best sports television show there was. Inside the NBA has been in that conversation in recent years, and those are probably the 2 greatest sports television shows of all time. I know once upon a time the NFL Today on CBS was in that conversation. Those shows are unwatchable now. I can't even think of any. I don't know what. I know like people are fans of certain personalities, and so because of that they love those. Like people love the Dan Le Batard show because they love Dan Le Batard and kind of the way he does things. But unquestionably, the 2 greatest sports of my lifetime are College Game Day and Inside the NBA. And I haven't watched College Game Day. When I was a young man, when I was in my 20s, it was every Saturday viewing for me.
That's how I feel right now. Like, it is appointment viewing for me. Like, and I work most Saturdays still, and I still try to find a way to tune in at some point.
I hadn't sat down to watch College Game Day in a long time, but when I was in Indianapolis last fall, like just being away from the kids and trying to do some work on a Saturday morning, I was like, I'm in the hotel. I'll turn on College Game Day, and I watch it, and I was like, the formula is still good. It still works. And it's something that like really can only work for something like college football because they only play 1 game a week, and like they can tap into traditions, they can tap into things that go beyond just football and all these other. Sometimes these NFL shows will have like a good segment, And then the rest of it is just dreck. It's just forced dreck. And there's probably too much Pat McAfee, but I get it. Like,
he's the new Lee Corso.
He's not, because he's not, with respect, what you think of Lee Corso as just being the guy that put the hat on, right? Like, Lee Corso was a really good analyst. It's just that in the last, handful of years, he's no longer capable of being that.
His Superdog's usually been pretty good, so.
Okay, if you say so.
I think he still got his fastball.
If you say that. Lee Corso, unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable how he elevated that and, in a way, elevated college football with it on television. There's a reason that, like, Fox now has games every week and NBC has games every week. And, like, because ESPN and ABC showed what you could do with college football. Just a titan in our business. And, yeah, like, somehow made this silly segment appointment viewing every week. It doesn't even make sense. You're not picking against the spread. You're almost always picking the home team just to get cheap pop. And I'm sure they'll try to do something with McAfee moving forward to try to replace that. But it became this you had to see Lee Corso put on the whatever costume he was going to put on every week. I love watching Lee Corso in his prime. Yeah, he's going to retire. He's 89 years old, so you certainly understand it. Lee Corso's final show will be week 1 of the college football season, and what an absolute titan of broadcasting Lee Corso has been after his own coaching career. All right, hour number 1 of today's show is in the books, and we open up hour number 2 with a man who just went deep last night as the Orioles picked up a win in Game 2 against the Guardians. They get ready for Game 3, and we welcome back to the program Mr. Ryan O'Hearn, who is with us now here on GCR. Ryan, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, and thank you for hitting a home run last night so we can be in good moods today.
Good morning, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Everything is good, dude. Ryan, can we do we say definitively that you guys needed the hydration station back? That was what got the mojo back. Now everybody's going to start hitting all the home runs again.
I mean, we can blame it on the hydration station, whatever you want to do, but last night was fun. We can keep that rolling.
No doubt about it. Last night was an awful lot of fun. Ryan, for guys like me that because I always this is interesting to me. Do you guys internally, when you go through a tough stretch, because people talk about it all the time, the best teams in baseball are going to go through stretches where, you go 6-9, something like that. Do you guys overreact to it, or internally are you like, hey, we know this is just how baseball goes. We know we don't need to press. We know we don't need to worry about it. These are just the ebbs and flows of a baseball season.
I would say good teams don't overreact. It's easy to get caught up in, all the outside noise, but the reality is we got to show up the next day and win and play a game. So, it's media and fans, they're passionate, they overreact sometimes, or in their mind, maybe not overreact. They react how they think they should be reacting, and that's fine. And it shows how much they care. So that's great. But for us and the guys in the locker room that have to go out and play the game, that can be a distraction. So I think you got to find a way to shut that out. Players do, and lean on each other. We know what we want to do. We know things when they're not going good or when they are going good, and sometimes you just gotta tune out everything else and show up the next day ready to play.
Is it different for you? Like, do you have to have that conversation with younger guys? Like, because you've been through it, Like, do you have? I know Charlie Morton talked about the idea of being irrational about it, and just got to have utter and complete confidence. Do you need to have that conversation with a younger guy that maybe hasn't been through something like that, and explain all that to him? Like, hey, man, this is just baseball. Settle down.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, maybe not so much like a serious sit down, but more like a, hey, screw it. Like, we'll play tomorrow. You know what I mean? Everybody has bad days at work. What are you going to take it into the next day? I mean, you can't in this business. It's definitely a one day at a time type of thing. It's a long season. And, you can, if you let this funk linger from day to day, then it can hurt you in the long run. But I think it's all about, flushing it and getting ready to show up the next day, try to win.
I appreciate that. All right, so like the one last night that like it's just a no doubter. Like it's just you hit the crap out of the ball. When we say no doubter,
that's Eutaw Street by like a foot.
Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I thought I had a shot.
I think they got to give it to you.
Yeah, we gotta lie about
that.
It
hit one of the flags. It
right?
should have been on.
It would have gotten there, no doubt. We got to put a baseball out there anyway.
They take that very serious. It's got to have like video evidence support.
Wow.
Where it landed.
What? Okay, but do you like? Is it when we say no doubter? Is it no doubter to you? Like when you make the contact, do you know you can go into your trot? You don't even have to bother to look. Like, can you just feel it off the bat?
Yes, for sure.
How do you know that? Is it the sound? Is it the feel? What is it to you that like allows you to say, "Oh,
that's a great question." I don't know. I think we just hit baseballs all day. So you just, I've done it so many times. I was like, I know when it's going to go out or not. For the most part, I mean, there are some days where maybe the wind's blowing in or out, and it's like, oh wait, I got out. But for the most part, you have a pretty good idea when it's going to go or not, or if it's going to be, or if it's going to be close. And you're not pimping anything. You're running.
Do you
I
have?
don't know. I just think it's like we just do it so much. You get used to it.
Did you have any worry last night on the one? Like, was it going to go foul? Did you know? Like, no, I got it right on the part of the bat. I don't have to worry about that.
I hit it good, and you know what? I just kind of saw the trajectory, and it wasn't really hooking too much.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're good.
We're good.
You can kind of feel when you hook it a little bit, and then it's like, is it going to stay fair? But no, I was pretty good.
I love it. I've always wanted to know what that. It's got to be the coolest feeling in the world, right? Like it's just when it's just got to be the coolest thing you can experience.
I mean, there's nothing like a major league home run.
Yeah. Right. Like there's so few humans that are capable of doing it. I
mean it's awesome.
Man, I'm jealous of that skill set. Ryan O'Hearn is with us this morning here on GCR. I wish I'd ever know what it was. Ryan, obviously last night was Bark in the Park night. Are you a dog owner?
I am, yes.
Did you was your dog in the building at all last night?
No, our dog Olive is back in Texas right now, but we're going to go get her. My wife's going to get her here in like a week or so. But she's been back home. But she's a dachshund.
Nice.
Black and tan. Yeah. She's we love wiener dogs. So.
Wow. Okay.
She didn't make it last night.
I am a dog lover, and I am someone who's very active with like Show Your Soft Side and Animals charities in the community. So this means a lot to me. Have you always been a dog person? Did you like have to fall in love with a certain dog in order to become a dog person? What is your experience with dogs in your life?
Oh, I love dogs. I've never met a dog I didn't like. I've been a dog person my whole life. We had multiple dogs growing up, and we got Olive is 7 years old, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I think dogs are angels. They're awesome.
I agree wholeheartedly with that sentiment. Do we now, after Jackson hit the Grand Slam with Coconut there, do we try to make sure there's room for Coconut to now be at every game moving forward?
I think we should get Coconut in the dugout, honestly.
I mean, this is straight shoot, right? Like, why wouldn't? How cool would that be? Like, that would be. Like, could you imagine every time you guys like walk by and pat Coconut on the head on the way out? Like, that has to be an amazing. I know that there's some amount of joke to that, but like, I don't think that that's crazy. I think Coconut maybe should become part of the team moving forward.
I mean, considering how much failure happens in baseball and how frustrating it could be, there could be like some sort of what is it called? Emotional support dog. That's the word I'm looking for.
Dude.
We could get an emotional support animal in the dugout. That might help.
People make fun of.
I would have to take it out on the walls.
Right.
Underneath.
We live in an era where people make fun of everything. Like, that's just, who we are as people, to your point about the fans and things like that. And so I remember being in college, and they told us, like, on study day before finals, that there would be straight shoot emotional support puppies that would be on campus. And then, of course, we get the people be like, oh, this is the softest generation. This is, you guys. I'm like, who is complaining about the idea of there being puppies on campus to go, like, give a cuddle to? Who thinks that's a bad idea in any world? My God, what's wrong with you?
I know, right? I completely agree with that. The dog should be left out of it. You know?
Yes, yeah, we got
accepted everywhere.
We got real problems, and I am in favor of coconut. Because I know there are future bark in the parks. If Olive is here, will your plan then be to bring Olive to the games moving forward when there is a bark in the park?
I would love for Olive to go to a game. I'll have to ask my wife Hannah about it. She's the one who would have to.
Yeah, take care.
I feel like she definitely would. Like Olive doesn't move a whole lot. She kind of just.
She's chill.
She likes to eat and she likes to sleep, and she's. I'm sure she would just be, chilling at a nose game. I think she would be fine.
I love that. We got to get Olive to a game. We got to make that happen. Ryan, important question already. I know it's early in the season. Have you and a fellow Ryan, have you discussed this year's prom pose for Team Photo Day yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to happen, right?
I mean,
we've come this far.
The people demand it.
They usually don't take the pic until, they take the picture in, August maybe, July. It's later, so we got some time. But, I think it's up to me. We got to recreate it. I'm sure he's on board.
How did it start, right? Was it just spur of the moment? Did you guys talk about it ahead of time? And obviously it's become tradition now.
Yeah, no, in 23 it was just spur of the moment. We were just joking. And we didn't know that anybody was taking a pic of it until we turned over and the camera guy was pointing it at us. And then last year, one of the photographers was like, "Are we doing the prom pose?" And I looked at Mountie, and Mountie's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I think we got to run it back. Do it one more time.
It's the best. It's the best. It's my favorite thing. I love it so much. This is good. Chris wants to know, off the bat last night, did you think there was any chance that you were going to the warehouse?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Do you think it's impossible?
No, I don't think it's impossible. Didn't Griffey do it?
He did it, but he did it in the home run derby. When he's being lob balls that he wants.
Yeah, I mean, it would be tough. We've had a debate in the clubhouse recently about it, and we may try to do this if we could get some old school BESR metal bats off of eBay or something, and then just have a machine throwing a loopy curveball or a hanging curveball and see if guys could hit the warehouse.
If you charge you could if you said it's $20 to come watch us try to hit the warehouse with metal bats, 10,000 people at least would show up to watch that. We would are you kidding me? That sounds I would watch those videos of the beer league softball guys go to major league stadiums and try to crush 500 feet. I would 1,000% pay money to watch this exhibition of you guys trying to tee off all of the. I mean, there's so many of you that are capable of doing it. All of the lefties going up there trying. It would be awesome.
I mean, I got Heston going halfway up the warehouse. Honestly.
No, really? You think he's the one?
No, I'm not halfway up the warehouse, but I could see him. I mean, Rutsch, Gunnar. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could do it.
Yo, I would absolutely watch this spectacle. There is no doubt in my mind that I would watch this. Hey, Ryan, where are you? There was so much hullabaloo at the beginning of the season with the torpedo bats. What did you make of it? Did you try it? Did you do anything with it? Where were you with all of that?
Man, Sig McGall had us on torpedo bats back at the end of 23.
Okay.
And he's showed the data as to why it works for certain guys, because it doesn't work for everybody. It depends on your batted ball data and where you hit the ball on the bat for the most part. But what's funny is I've used it in batting practice a few times. I have a few of them that from Sig. I only have one major league at bat with it, and I struck out and I put it in the trash pretty much.
Wait, was that a superstition thing, or did you just really not like the bat?
Well, I didn't even make contact, so I don't even know if I like the bat. I just was like,
"You can't."
No, this isn't working for me. I'm going to go back to old school.
Are you a superstition guy in general?
Yeah, I'm superstitious, and I'm a creature of habit.
Okay.
This bat's been working for me. Why am I going to try to switch it up now? Type of thing.
I understand that. Are you like that? What are other things that you're like that with? On game day, do you have other superstitions? Do you have other things that you have to do every day?
Oh, I mean, I have a routine pretty much down within 5 minutes every day.
What
I do the same.
What can you run through?
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, like
Some guys, I asked that question because there are guys that'd be afraid. You wouldn't even talk about it. You'd be like, nope, I'm too superstitious. I can't tell you what it is.
I'll just summarize. Like
Okay.
I get in the hot tub, cold tub at the same time every day. I get the same coffee from THB, and then I get one from Starbucks. So I get THB in the morning with my breakfast, and then on the way to the field, I hit Starbucks. I only go to the same gas station for Zins or whatever.
Yeah. But it's the same product you could get anywhere else, but you have to go to that gas station.
When I go to the field, like I do everything at pretty much the same time, and I have like different templates for, if it's a 1 o'clock game, then I have like a certain routine. If it's a 6:35, then I have a certain routine, and like I can always kind of look at the clock and know what time it is, which is kind of funny, just because we do the same thing every day.
That's wild, man. That's so okay. But what about like on Tuesday night when the game was at 7:05? Did that screw you up?
No, like I have a different, like my 6:30 and 6:35 and 7:05 is just like, it's pretty much the same routine. It's just I leave 30 minutes earlier or later.
Got it.
Like
Got it. But everything remains the same from there. Is it?
Yeah, but like I have an idea of like what time it is without looking at the clock, which is based off of like
wild.
where I'm at.
That's wild, man. Is it the same order at THB every day, or do you mix it up?
Yeah, I mean, I mix up the bagel. I just go sausage, egg, and cheese. Sometimes I go egg bagel. Sometimes I go everything. Really, actually, just those two, honestly.
I was always an onion bagel person. I always thought that the sausage, egg, and cheese on an onion bagel to me was perfect. And then,
really?
Well, yes, Mrs. Clark didn't share that opinion. She was not necessarily a fan of it, but that was definitely a go-to. And then what about like? So I got to get to the. You could buy it. It's not that this gas station has a specific Zin product. You could get it anywhere else, but you have to get it at that gas station.
Yeah, no, I just like want to go to the same places every day. I think that just keeps me.
Do they like? Are they happy to see? Like, oh, Ryan's here. Like, is it that type of situation?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay, all right.
And they're like, why? She's like, why do you want so much of this? I'm like, it's not all for me.
But is it really actually all for you?
No, it's not always.
Like, that would be the greatest one of all time. Is if you're walking in.
Sometimes
I'm taking care of all the boys, and they're like, "Oh, that makes sense," and you're like, "I'm lying. It's all for."
I mean, that might be an excuse just to like stop getting dirty looks, but
no doubt about it. Ryan, the one that I did want to ask, there's so much. You bring up some of the stuff that people talk about from the outside. One of the things that people talk about from the outside is how much, and maybe you're a perfect person to ask this because you do acknowledge your superstition, how much the lineups change from day to day, and does that impact you guys at all? Do you care about that type of stuff? Do you say, hey man, like I do like being in the rhythm. I like if I'm going to be in the lineup, I want to be hitting cleanup. Like does that have any impact on you, or is that a big nothing burger?
For me, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I could hit eighth or whatever, wherever. And, the lineups, that's kind of just this – like, we're not the Braves, Like, we don't have the same 9 guys that play every day and then 3 guys that never play. Like, we have 13 guys that are going to contribute, that are legit big league players that could help you on any given night. And our, like, team strategy is obviously to match up against the other team's pitcher. And especially early in the year, like, you have to keep everybody involved because you can't just rely on a guy who's got 10 at-bats and it's, the middle of May and, like, we need you. Like, you have to look at it from that point of view. And I think, realizing that and that's how it's run, it's like, okay, I don't make the lineup. I'll hit wherever. I'll play wherever. And you know what? I don't think anybody on the team gripes about that. Like, I think it's just our style, and I think the lineups are good.
I dig
I don't think there's anything wrong with them.
Are you are you a fan of turn and burn O'Hearn? Do you enjoy that? I know you don't get to watch the games yourself, but like I'm sure your family, your friends, has that become a part of your life?
Yeah, maybe. It's cool. It's very cool.
That is the most diplomatic
Ben
answer
brought
ever.
it to Baltimore. I got to shout out Rex Hudler. Rex in Kansas City was the first one to hit me with that.
Oh, I didn't know it started there. I had no idea. I thought that was a Ben original.
I hate to do that to Ben, but it's Rex Hudler. He said, "Turn and burn O'Hearn and call the cops while you're at it."
Oh, that's good. Oh, I love Rex. By the way, Rex is awesome. Rex is
a man.
Rex has come on with us a ton. He actually played in Baltimore briefly years ago. And Rex, like, every time you talk to him, it sounds like he just did. And I hope he doesn't get offended by this, but I know you know what I'm saying. It sounds like he just did like a line of blow. Like, it just sounds like he is, because he's on a 10 at all times. But it's just natural for him.
Wired, for sure. Yeah. He is wired.
God,
I think that's just he just got that infectious energy.
100%, man.
That's who he is.
He's the best.
Yeah. No, I love Rex Hudler.
Ryan O'Hearn, you're the best. You've always been great to us, man. Awesome to see you guys get a huge win last night. Looking forward to seeing how that you carry that over moving forward. Anything that we can plug for you at all?
No, man. Let's just take the series tonight.
I love the sounds of that, dude. Ryan, thank you as always for taking the time for us this morning, man. Really appreciate you. Let's talk again soon, all right?
Yep. Thanks, Glenn.
Ryan O'Hearn with us here on GCR. I hope Rex Hudler doesn't. I hope he understands what I was trying to say there. There are other people. You know these people in your life that would never do drugs, like ever. But they just come in, and when they come in, they're on fire. Like, they're just on one from the moment they arrive. You know who this person is. It's someone in your life. And Rex Hudler is like that, man. He was just on with us like 2 Fridays ago, right? And I said something like that after we finished with him. Like, I wish that I had Rex Hudler energy when I woke up in the morning. Like, he is just on one. Appreciate Ryan O'Hearn taking the time for us this morning. And his perspective, I think, is exactly that. And I also think it is easier for Ryan O'Hearn. Like, the contradiction there of, like, what Brandon Hyde is talking about with the young players, the Jackson Holliday types. Ryan O'Hearn's been through failure. Like, he's been through it. He understands it's part of the game. You're going to go through it. You're going to have stretches. And so it's easier to put it all into context. And I appreciate that about Ryan O'Hearn, and I appreciate that conversation this morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. We're going to get into some football talk here in just a second. Today's show also brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for everything you need to know when it comes to high school sports. So big high school lacrosse matchups. Spalding's played a big non-conference game today up at St. Anthony's on Long Island. 2 of the best teams in the country getting together. But yeah, everything you want to know. Boys and girls lacrosse, baseball, softball, every sport, every score, every schedule, every ranking, every update you could possibly need. They've got you covered. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Go check them out today. Continue along here on a Thursday edition of GCR. Still to come this morning, Jordan Phillips, former Terp, is going to check in with us. We're going to get his thoughts as he continues to prepare for the NFL draft. Do you want to take a break? You tell me. You're the producer, man. Been one of those days. Ryan O'Hearn was great. He was tremendous. He's really good. I really enjoyed conversations with Ryan O'Hearn. I've enjoyed them quite a great deal. You're telling me if they charged whatever it was, $20, would you go watch that? They use the metal bats to try to hit the warehouse.
Absolutely.
$20. Yeah. If the number was 50, I'd probably be out. But $20, I'm in. All right. Griffin tells me we got to grab a break. Scheduled to be joined by Mike Renner of CBS Sports next. We'll find out. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard. And coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. Thanks again to Ryan O'Hearn for taking the time to join us this morning. Every Monday, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson are talking baseball with you. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson, every Monday talking baseball. The dejection on Griffin Bass's face this morning.
Guess I've been talking to ghosts today.
He was so proud. This is I given him props for booking a great show today, right? Like, you have days like earlier this week, a Tuesday, it was a tough day. Tough day. Yesterday was a fine day, right? Like, we had Drew was probably better than he is most times he's in here. He had more to offer, and getting to know Elijah, not Micah Saunders, somebody else. And Greg Penn, like, those were good guests. I was happy with the day we had yesterday. It was a good day. Griffin was very proud of this one today. He's like, look, we're all over the place, got all sorts of different guests, good guests doing different topics. And then one falls by the wayside.
It's like, all right, we got a good second hour.
Still, yeah, right? We got a strong 11 a.m. hour. This is the good news today. The one that was most important came through.
Whoa.
That was, like, with no disrespect. No, I'm not trying to disrespect any of them. But if you're only going to get one, you got the one, right? Like, that is the good news. And I know it's not your fault, and I'm not mad at you. We're just having funsies. That's the way that it goes. I don't know what's happening. I've been in your shoes. I know the feeling. I know it well. It's very frustrating because you're like, I did everything I feel like I could do. What's happening right now? These things occur. Dan, I don't know why Dan thinks it's something I would do. Dan said, Glenn, speaking of Lee Corso, is he on your Mount Rushmore of sports media personalities?
Ooh.
Dude, I don't do Mount Rushmore.
Why not?
It's because they're stupid. Years ago, of course, the new print issue of Press Box is available right now. I do the 15 every month, right? So with Felix Bautista being front and center on this month, on the cover of this issue of Press Box, the 15 is the 15 Orioles relievers, right? And when we started this years ago, the idea was I'm doing a ranking of whatever, the 15 best somethings. I think that's stupid. Stupid. So some time ago, I conscientiously objected to the concept. And I said, I tell you what I'll do. We'll just do, like, history lessons. Something that provides context. So on the cover of this issue is Felix Bautista. Last one, the David Rubenstein one, the 15 was the 15 Baltimore sports owners. And all it was a historical retelling of the owners of the Baltimore Colts, Baltimore Ravens, the Baltimore Orioles, the Baltimore Bullets, like of all of the major professional sports teams. And there's some funny things that like you wouldn't know about the original owners of the Baltimore Colts, right? Like a merry band of men. Because at the time, obviously, professional football was not a billion-dollar industry. So that's what I do. And this month, it's just, to me, the 15 most significant Baltimore Orioles relievers, and then listed in alphabetical order, right? That's all it is.
I was going to say, Brad Rock's number 2.
Yeah, that's this is what. By the way, what happens right there is I say, here, hang on a second. This is not a ranking. These pitchers are listed in alphabetical order, but nobody bothers to read that.
Well, what's the ranking then?
There is no ranking. That's nonsense.
Oh.
How do I possibly compare Dick Hall to Zach Britton?
I look at their stats, I guess.
Yeah, nonsense. But this is what we do, right? It's the breathlessness. Somebody said this recently. Like the reason why ESPN continues to do the nonsense like GOAT segments is because they find that it gets the most clicks. And again, that somebody would say to me, that's why you should be doing that type of stuff. Sorry. I'm just, this is the Jon Stewart, you're ruining America thing. I'm just not going to do, I'm not going to justify something by, yes, it's bad content, but people like bad content. And that's why I appreciate those of you that are here with us. Which is why it's surprising that Dan says, hey, who's your Mount Rushmore?
Well, if you had to.
But this is the context that I would give you. In my life, right, in my sports viewing life, and this is what makes this very difficult, is how do you compare, because you just say sports media personalities, how do you, where does a play-by-play person come into the conversation against a Lee Corso, a Charles Barkley? I can't give you that answer. I think that as far as studio show hosts or studio show analysts go, Lee Corso is maybe not the greatest, but he's the most significant. He and Charles Barkley are the two most significant studio show personalities of my life, right? Adulthood, whatever you want to call it. And that's why those two shows were the two best. Nobody remembers Inside the NBA before Charles Barkley came along. It existed, believe it or not. There was an Inside in the NBA. I believe Kenny Smith was on the show. Peter Vesey was part of it, the writer from New York. I think George Karl was on the show for a little bit between when he was coaching the Sonic. He was coaching
the Sonics and on the...
Yeah, he was doing both. He coached the Sonics, then he was somewhere else,
Denver,
I want to say.
Right? No.
Yeah, but was he in Sacramento for a minute?
Oh, before, you mean
Denver?
Denver?
Yeah. Between stops, George Karl was definitely on Inside the NBA. And then Inside the NBA really hit its stride with Ernie, Chuck, and Kenny Smith. Just the three of them. Then after Shaq's career ended, Shaq became part of it, and people would say it rose even more. But it really hit its stride, just the three of them. Ernie, Chuck, and Shaq. It hit its stride at that point.
It was in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, that's where it was, not Sacramento.
Yeah.
But somewhere between his stints, George Karl was part of that show. And
just one season, I got 04, I guess.
Was that it?
Yeah, because there's a gap in between his coaching.
Boy, it seems like it would have been.
He was in Milwaukee until 03, and then he was in Denver.
Why would I have memories of it if it was just for 1 year?
You're
just
special program.
Yeah, happened to be really
when
into.
When did Chuck join Inside the NBA?
I don't remember what year that was. I couldn't tell you. I mean, they all run together at some point. But then, once he did, that show, you had to watch 1,000%. And them ragging on him, it was tremendous.
2000.
So he was on it when George Karl. I feel like I remember an Inside the NBA that had George Karl but didn't have Charles Barkley. Maybe they just did two. Maybe they did multiple shows a week. Maybe there was a Tuesday show and a Thursday show, something like that. And before they decided to just make the Thursday show Inside the NBA, that might be what it was. Those two are the two. Dick Vitale for different reasons, because he was a game analyst that was a personality. He wasn't a studio analyst. He was a color analyst for games, but his personality made him larger than life in that way. So he would be in this conversation if we were just doing former athletes as media personalities. John Madden like probably still number one on that list. Like it would be overwhelming. I don't know how there could be greater than John Madden. And young people probably feel this way about Pat McAfee. Every time I talk about Pat McAfee, it feels like I'm saying I hate Pat McAfee. I don't.
It does.
Pat McAfee, I think, like, personality stuff is good for sports. I think it's been beneficial. But part of what made Lee Corso great was that it wasn't just the shtick. That he was a really good analyst, too. John Madden, obviously, was maybe the greatest analyst in the history of football. Charles Barkley, lesser, but like when Charles Barkley first started doing this, he was a pretty damn good analyst. And when he tries still,
right,
like when he gets into trying to explain something, actual basketball, you can be reminded of what made him a really good analyst. Not obviously he's never going to do that for the NCAA tournament. He doesn't even know who these guys are. But in the NBA, every now and then you'll be watching, and there will still be a moment where you're like, right, that's what made Charles Barkley so great. It's not just the shtick. It's that also he does like legitimately very strong analyst work. Those are the guys that stand out to me. Like in my life, there hasn't been anybody in baseball, unfortunately. Like that might be the detriment of baseball.
A-Rod.
Well, somebody like this is the problem. Somebody would say, like, as far as personalities go, Bob Uecker was that guy. But Bob Uecker was a play-by-play guy. Like he was calling the game.
Smoltz isn't like a.
Smoltz is an outstanding analyst.
Right.
He's incredible,
but he
doesn't
have, like, personality.
There's no crossover appeal.
Or,
that's what makes these guys.
So when
you didn't have to,
Ben McDonald gets poached from,
I love Ben McDonald. He's very good.
Or Rex Hudler. I mean, I don't know.
I think Jim Palmer is a phenomenal analyst, but there's not the crossover appeal. Jim Palmer obviously has had some of the big assignments. He used to do the World Series every year. They really thought Earl Weaver was going to be that guy. When he left the Orioles in '82, people don't realize he actually called the '83 World Series on TV.
Really?
Because they thought he was such a larger-than-life personality as a manager. He was a pop culture figure. It's in the Last Manager book that we had John Miller on to talk about. It's very good and reminds you of all that. But I had forgotten about it until they did the series against the Mets where they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the '83 World Series. And they were playing the clinching game on the screen before the game. And I was like, right, that's right. Earl Weaver called the '83 World Series. Of course, because Joe Altobelli was the manager at that point. But they really thought Earl Weaver was going to be that transcendent figure in media. Like, they thought he was going to be the Dick Vitale, he was going to do for baseball what John Madden was doing for football. And it wasn't the same. Like, he was not great, and ultimately ended up going back to managing for a while in Baltimore in the 1980s. And never became that guy. The baseball's never really had a transcendent personality. And it's hard now because so much of these studio shows are forced. It's
Joe Morgan almost, I guess.
Joe Morgan was very good, but he was not a transcendent personality. He was Sunday Night Baseball at a time. Also keep in mind, there was less baseball on television at that point, so it was a bigger deal. When the heyday of John Miller and Joe Morgan doing Sunday Night Baseball together was an era where that was like all you got. You didn't get a game on, and there was no MLB Network. ESPN might have been doing Wednesday nights at that point, but there was not a lot of. You either got your local team. Also in that era, like HTS was on premium cable, so you didn't even get all of your own local teams' games throughout the course of the year. There's never really been anyone baseball-wise. There's not real. Like, for a minute, it looked like Tony Romo was on the trajectory to kind of become that guy in football, and then, that went away quickly. Part of it, too, for some of these guys is just their accessibility, right? Like, that they're willing to do it. They don't just do their job, that they're out everywhere. Like, Lee Corso did lots of radio interviews over the years. Not in the last, as he's gotten older, that's obviously dissipated, but, like, when I first started, Lee Corso was an easy guest to get on. He was just call me. I'm happy to come on. Talk about college football. So, again, in this specific, if you separate play-by-play guys, talk show hosts, and just go with like studio or game analysts, and you're saying significance, not just how good they are, like their overall significance, yes, Lee Corso is unquestionably in that conversation. I don't do those. I just don't do that type of stuff. But he is, without doubt, in the conversation of the most significant sports analyst in media history. There is no doubt about it. And again, a lot of that comes from two bits: putting on a mascot head and saying "Not so fast, my friend."
What was your favorite mascot?
I don't know.
Well, it has to be the.
Admittedly, I always liked, even as I haven't watched, I always still like seeing it pop up on social media.
It was the
like,
SMU one where he's like, "Give me the hat," and then he says, "F it," and throws a, and then throws it, and he puts on the was it SMU? I don't even know. It was SMU and somebody.
Couldn't possibly tell you who.
And he said "F it." He said it.
Did he?
On the air?
I've forgotten about
and
that.
Then threw it. That's the best
I've forgotten about that altogether. Still, like it feels like we're talking about Lee Corso like he's passed. Like he's not passed. He's just retired. That's the danger when you're having this conversation. Is like somebody hears it, they just cut, and they're like, "Are you eulogizing Lee Corso?" No, he has not passed away. Lee Corso is just retiring after week 1 of the college football season from being a part of College Game Day, which is a bummer because he's been a ubiquitous part of our lives for a long time, 4 decades as part of College Game Day. And so, it's a bummer, but obviously at 89 years old, we all understand it. It makes complete and total sense. Josh says, I'm in. You should start marketing this now. I want to watch some dudes target the warehouse. Yeah, we're all in. I don't know that they'll be able to do it during the season because it's like the home run derby problem where, like everybody says, it affects your swing for a little while if you're just swinging for home runs. So I'm going to guess that the Orioles will put the kibosh on it during the season. But maybe like, I don't know, after the season, something like that, you could try to get those guys together for an exhibition to hit the warehouse. He said there wouldn't be as many people as are going to be there for the Savannah Bananas, but there would definitely be a lot of people. Well, the Savannah Bananas are playing like football stadiums now. Like legitimately, in cities that don't have baseball stadiums, they just say...
They played in Tampa Bay, or they played in like Raymond James.
100%. I think they're doing it in Nashville. I think they're doing it at some college football stadiums, like at Clemson and stuff like that. I don't even know how that works with the field, but that's just how capable they are of selling tickets. All right, let's talk a little NFL draft this morning as this man, one of the most freakish athletes we have ever seen at the University of Maryland or elsewhere. He's getting ready for the NFL draft right now. It's a pleasure for us to welcome in former Terp Jordan Phillips, who is with us this morning here on GCR. Jordan, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure. And, I always enjoy just speaking and, just getting to know people. So it's truly the pleasure to be on here with you guys.
That's really nice of you. Really nice of you to say that, Jordan. Jordan, I need to know, like, when in your life did you have your first, like, oh, I'm different feeling? Like, when did it strike you, I'm not like everybody else?
I mean, honestly, it never was just like a day where I woke up and was like, oh, I'm different. It was more so just like, it just gradually happened. I tell people all the time, like just working hard and, being who you truly are, living your truth, it has to be in you, not on you. You get what I'm saying? So, like, that's just always what it's been with me. I always just been genuine and, just lived my truth, worked hard every day, but I think that's just what it is about me.
Was there ever a moment where you, like, I guess let me go back a step. Did you always play football, Jordan?
Yeah, I always played football.
Okay.
I always did, yes, sir.
Can I assume, based on your size, that you were always a lineman one way or the other?
Well, it's actually a little bit funny because when I was 6 years old, my first ever position was running back.
Okay.
Then,
wait.
Yeah,
hang on a second. Were you bigger? Were you always bigger than the other kids, or were you at all?
So I always was taller.
Okay.
I always was taller, but I really filled out. I say when I turned 10, and then that's when I made that switch to D-line. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I'm imagining I feel like there's a video that it might even be AI of like this kid that looks like he's 14 like running around with 7-year-olds. And I'm just imagining 6-year-old running back Jordan Phillips just being like Derrick Henry, rolling over everybody.
And it's crazy too, because in high school I even played some tight end, some running back,
Oh my
and
God.
D line. So I really played everywhere on the field. So
I say that like it's crazy, but we know your athleticism. Like that's what makes you so compelling. Like you probably still could do an amount of those things based on your speed. Like obviously you're not going to.
1,000%. You know what I'm saying? I could still do it all. 1,000%. I take care of my body. I take care of myself. You know what I'm saying? And I still run the sub 8 mile. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm big on taking care of myself. You know,
so insane.
At 325, by the way.
How is that possible? How is that? When you just said sub 8 mile, right? Like, I'm gonna give you context. I'm not in perfect shape, right? Like, I'm 5'10". I'm about a $190, and I paced. I was so proud of myself because I ran a 10K and I was pacing like an 8.5-minute mile. I was like, damn, man, that's incredible. You run a sub 8-minute mile carrying around that body. How are you? Are we sure you're not an alien?
I mean, it's just all about, like I said, it's about taking care of your body, doing the little things, getting the recovery in. You know what I'm saying? I always getting the hot tub before working out, and then afterwards getting the cold tub. Always been a big sauna guy. You know what I'm saying? Like just doing the little things, like getting a massage once a week. That always helps. And you know, I've always just been about just being a pro long before I became a pro. And you know, I've always had great mentors, and you know what I'm saying? My mom was always big on like just taking care of myself and just doing the little things right. Just doing everything I can to give myself a chance.
Man, whenever the football career ends, we need you to like join the Avengers, Jordan. Like that's what we're gonna need from you. Help protect our country. Jordan Phillips is with us here on GCR. Jordan, with all that in mind, right? Like when you found out you were getting the combine invite, did you kind of snicker like, okay, like if you think I'm good on the football field, wait till you go see how I'm gonna test.
I mean, like I say, it's all been like a process, you know what I'm saying? So my mindset is like, you know, built for more, you know, so continuing to just work, continuing to get better every day, and just doing the little things that'll be conducive to long-term success, not only for myself, but for whoever I'm playing for. And I just try to do a good job of representing, you know, any organization I'm playing for and the name on the back of my jersey.
I appreciate
those things are important, you know, so.
Jordan, take me back, right? You're at Tennessee. Why Maryland? Like, there's no obvious, you know, like you're not from here. It's a whole lot colder than anywhere you had been at that point in your life. It's not a traditional power program. Why was it that Maryland was the right fit for you?
Man, Coach Locke is the greatest, like one of the greatest coaches that ever recruited me and ever believed in me. You know what I'm saying? Coach Locke has always just been supportive of me and just supportive of my development. And the same thing as Brian Williams, my defensive coordinator and D-line coach in college. They've always done an amazing job of just supporting me and just, you know, developing me as a man and as a football player. And so that came like all the way back when I was getting recruited by them in high school, and just honestly, just me being like mentored by them and being recruited by them coming out of high school. You know what I'm saying? It just meant a lot to me. And James Thomas too. He at the time he was a special teams coordinator. Now he's the outside linebackers coach here at Maryland. But you know they all of them just believed in me along with the whole staff coming out of high school. And then when I came out the portal, you know what I'm saying, everybody had elevated in their respective positions. At the time, Coach Locke had just got a raise. My defensive coordinator at the time, Brian Williams, coming out of high school, he was my D-line coach. But coming out the portal, he was the D-line coach and he was the defensive coordinator. And James Thomas, my area recruiter, when I was coming out of high school, he was only the special teams coordinator. But when I was coming out the portal, he was a special teams coordinator and an outside linebackers coach. And so that just made me realize that everybody was developing at the University of Maryland. Everybody was elevating. And, you know what I'm saying, they just had went to – well, they were about to go to the second bowl game in the year, like 2 bowl games in 2 years. That's big time. So I just figured that Maryland was a place that I could get better and develop, and also help others around me develop and just add value to the organization. And so that's the reason why I came to Maryland, coming out the portal. I mean, I take a lot of pride in this place. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot to me, and I love the guys in this building.
It's really fascinating to hear you, because I think a lot of people believe that in this era, it really is as simple as, like, hey, whoever offers you the most NIL-wise, that's where you're going to be, or now revenue share-wise, that's where you're going to be. But listening to you, you're saying directly, like,
you know, it's tough. It's honestly is tough because, you know, with the era of NIL, you know what I'm saying, like, it's like my generation cares a lot about the money, and it's not about that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to the right situation in terms of, okay, where is this a place that I can grow as a man off the football field and grow as a great football player? Is this a place that I can see myself building relationships with coaches and with players? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, those things do matter. You know, it's not always about the money. You know, it's not always like, if you play this game the right way and if you live right on and off the field, the football gods, they're going to bless you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get what's coming to you in the future. But, you know, in the new era where everybody wants everything right now, you know what I'm saying, it's difficult for people to truly see that, you know what I'm saying? So,
do you feel like that's helped you as you get ready to make this jump, Jordan? Like the fact that you didn't just chase money, that you went to a place where you felt like you were going to be, you know, coached, nurtured in a different way. Do you feel like that has you better prepared now for making this jump to the NFL level?
Absolutely, because, you know, the way my mom raised me, you know what I'm saying, like, she raised me to have a mature mindset and to think logically instead of thinking about what's best for just right now, you know, like what's going to be overall best for you, like in terms of development, in terms of being a great man and a good football player, what's going to be best for you, like in terms of lifelong success, you know, and what's going to be best for the situation. And so, you know what I'm saying, I never, you know, even coming from like hard circumstances growing up, you know what I'm saying, just getting evicted a lot, you know what I'm saying, not always having everything, you know what I'm saying, even when we coming from that, it never was about the money with me, you know what I'm saying, it was always about how can I develop and how can I help others around me develop, and, you know what I'm saying, how can I be around the best people with the best mindsets, you know?
I love that.
That's what it always was about with me.
I think it's clear how much it shaped you as a person, too, right? Like that adversity. We saw at the Shrine Bowl this year, you received the Pat Tillman Award, and I actually worked in Arizona for a couple years. Pat had passed away by that point, but I got to know a lot of his family, and when you say the name Pat Tillman, that's a powerful name to bring up.
It is. It is, and I take a lot of pride in getting that award.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And ever since I've gotten that award, you know, I always make sure that I wake up in the morning and, you know, I live, you know what I'm saying, through
representation. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I represent the award in the right manner, you know, and that truly does mean a lot to me, because even long before I even got that award, I did my research on Pat Tillman. I already knew who he was, because one thing about me, I do my research and I study the game of football. I study the people before me, you know what I'm saying, the success stories before me. And, you know what I'm saying, when you talk about having courage, when you talk about a guy who was selfless, who put others before himself, and who put, as a matter of fact, he put the whole country before himself. When you talk about somebody who's brave, Pat Tillman is all of those things. And, you know, I'm just very honored to have received that award. I mean, it means the world to me, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I just want to thank Pat Tillman and Pat Tillman's family and the whole Shrine Bowl committee for even considering me for the award. You know, it means a lot to me. And this is something that I'm going to take with me truly through the rest of my life. It really does mean a lot.
That's really powerful, man. It is really powerful to hear you say those words, Jordan.
Yes,
Jordan, couple things. Jordan Phillips is with us here on GCR. One, we saw the video of you doing 365 on the neck press, which, I just keep coming back to. That seems impossible. Is there another number that you've hit doing something else, like a dead? What to you is like the most amazing number that you've ever put up in the weight room?
See, that's the thing. Like, I always keep myself like grounded. So whenever I hit a PR, I always know it's more in me. You get what I'm saying? So
wait a second. Are you saying you can do better than 365 on an egg press?
Absolutely. 100%.
Oh my God, man!
Because that was last year, so that I can definitely do way better. But yeah, I mean my numbers. I clean and jerk 385.
Jesus Christ.
For the back squat is actually 705. I actually have the video of me back squatting 705. I did that here last year. So you want to know a funny story?
Okay.
So Big Ten Media Day, right? Is in July.
Yeah.
And the reason why I remember this story is because this story literally happened. I remember this, right? So we go to Big Ten Media Day. Okay, it's me, Coach Locks, you got Ruben, Todd Felton. We all go to Big Ten Media Day, right, in Indianapolis. We fly back. We fly back to Maryland, and I hit up my strength coach. And at the time, there was a dude by the name of Mason Baggett, and right now he's coaching. He's one of the assistant strength coaches at Virginia Tech.
Okay.
I hit up Coach Baggett, and I say, Coach, what's up? I'm trying to get some work in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's up? And he's like, okay, like, what type of workout, you trying to do? I said, I want to do lower body, but I want to lift with y'all. I want to lift with the staff, the whole strength staff, And so, you know what I'm saying? Him and two other strength coaches, they all went to the facility, and you know what I'm saying. Of course, I was already there because I had just got dropped off back at the facility because coming from Indianapolis from Big Ten Media Day. So we warm up, you know what I'm saying. We're all working out together, and we're back squatting, you know what I'm saying. So I said, you know what, Coach? I said today I'm gonna hit 705 just cause. He said, you gonna hit 705?
Just cause.
He's like, you sure? He said, you sure about that? I said, yeah, I'm gonna hit 705. I'm gonna do it. I said, you know me, I'm a man of my word. So, we're going up. We hit 605, do that, you know what I'm saying? We go to 625, 650, 705 comes. So I take a lap around the weight room, you know what I'm saying, just to flush out my legs, come back, get under the bar, go all the way down, come back up. So, that's just what it was.
That's unreal, bro.
And
unreal.
I could tell how I squatted it. I still had a lot more left in me, but I had just stopped there because they had stopped.
He said it a lot more left in me. Like, God.
Yeah, they stopped me because they said, we want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be good and everything, because camp was a week later, so they were just like, yeah, we're going to stop. We know you want to keep going, big dog, but we're going to stop,
Man.
All right.
We've all watched those like strongman competitions on like reruns on ESPN at some point. Do you see those and you're like, yeah, I could definitely like walk a car down the street. Like I could do that.
You know what? Honestly, if I had the consistent training, I could do it. And it's not even big, and like, yeah, I do love working out, but it's ultimately like the competitive nature in me. Like
that you would just be pushed.
I
get
it. It's like, okay, last week I hit 705. I got to be better than me from last week. So now I got to hit 725.
That's so wild, dude.
I always had this competitive nature within myself. Like I got to beat everybody around me, and I got to beat what my PR was from the week before. You know what I'm saying? That's just always been me.
Man, that is so wild. That's just so wild. If someone said, hey, if I had any knock on Jordan Phillips, he never had a sack at the college level. I'm going to present it this way.
Right.
We know we saw you dominate up front, and I don't want to take anything away because like Tommy's a hell of a player too, right? We know that. But we also saw that everybody was always paying like all of their attention towards you. Like double teams, maybe sometimes more like triple teams going your way.
Right.
Do you feel like at the NFL level, given that like they're not going to be able to just pay all their attention to you, it's going to be able to free you up to be able to do even more things in the backfield at the next level?
Absolutely, 100%, 1,000%, absolutely.
I think it makes all the sense in the world. I'm not going to doubt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, the biggest thing is I'm just excited. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to continue to keep competing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to ask for nothing and earn everything.
I'm going to pose it to you this way. You've gotten to spend the last couple years up in this neck of the woods.
Right.
I have no doubt that you know the history of, like, the Baltimore Ravens defense.
Absolutely. Dominant.
Yeah.
Vicious.
What
Yes,
would
sir.
that mean to you if it were to happen to be the Baltimore Ravens that made that phone call?
Yeah, I mean, it would be in the world, you know. It would mean the world to me, like, getting that call from anybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm always looking to compete, you know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to get that opportunity to compete at the NFL level and, you know what I'm saying, just really add value to the organization that I'm a part of. So, I mean, it would mean a lot for me to get that call from any team, any organization.
And then for people that you brought it up earlier about Mike Locksley, what would you want Maryland fans to know that maybe a bit disappointed about how last year went? I know there were a lot of heartbreakers for you guys in that process, right? Games that you had that just didn't go that way. What would you want people to know about the direction of Maryland football and why they should be believers in what's going on at the University of Maryland?
Yeah, like I said, this is an amazing organization. You know what I'm saying? Coach Locks is a great recruiter, and you know, the organization is always continuing to develop at a high rate. And I believe in Coach Locks, and the guys around here and everybody around here at the University of Maryland believes in Coach Locks. And at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we're continuing to develop as players on the field, but also men off the field. And you know what I'm saying, I just have a whole lot of faith in Maryland. And you know, I can honestly say, like, going here the last 2 years has been one of the best decisions in my life, such as this far. And so I'm just excited to see what they do in the fall.
It's awesome, man. I know it's at I am Jordan Phillips on Instagram, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then
Yes,
it's Jordan50OTF on Twitter, right?
Yes, sir. That's my Twitter. Yes, sir.
Give Jordan a follow in those spots. Jordan, we can't wait to see what's next for you. We know you're going to be dominant. We are selfishly hoping that Baltimore is that phone call, but please understand, if it's somewhere like Pittsburgh, we're going to say things about you. We don't mean it. It's not personal. we have all the respect in the world for you, dude, and the type of person that you are and the type of football player you are. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning, man. We really enjoyed doing this.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me this morning. It's truly a pleasure to speak with you guys and, you know, be on here. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Hope you guys have a great day.
You as well. Good luck, man. Jordan Phillips, University of Maryland. Truly, like, the definition of athletic freak. Like, ridiculous. That he is a specimen, and it seems like his game is going to translate quite well at the NFL level. All right, when we come back in, we will get a tidbit, we will get tubular, and start to wind things down for a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
I got a lot of feedback that people maybe believe what Drew was saying yesterday, that they don't think Jim Palmer was telling the truth about the chicken wings thing. I disagree. I really do. I wholeheartedly disagree. We've seen Jim Palmer in his underpants. As I said yesterday, I had this conversation with John in Little Rock. Jim Palmer, we know there's at least an amount of vanity, right? Like, we all know there has been surgery. And I'm not trying to disparage Jim Palmer in that process. I understand. This is the point. Jim Palmer is allowed to have an amount of vanity, or is allowed to have whatever. Everybody's allowed to have whatever cosmetic surgeries they want to have. The point is, like, knowing this about Jim Palmer, like seeing the way that he looks, I can't be all that surprised by the idea. Now, apparently, as the conversation went on, I didn't catch this. He mentioned that he maybe has had chicken fingers at some point in his life, which is...
Yeah, he said he had chicken tenders.
Well, that's also fried chicken. Like,
okay, well, then I guess Kevin Brown needs to push back.
That's what, like, I think was kind of missed in this conversation. Like, if he's... I'm very confused by the idea that he's saying he's had chicken tenders, but then when he's been served fried chicken, he's ripped the skin off. There's something incongruent about those two things. Like, is it just because it came out of a deep fryer that...
Yeah, probably. I mean,
but how do you think chicken tenders are typically prepared?
Like, I mean, we can't. These are people that I guess maybe he's just grossed out by
the idea.
Veins, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Is it the bones that are the problem? I have more questions about it, because as that went on, that does become more confusing.
You want to call? We could call. So one of the PFF Sean's is like this. He's got a palate of a toddler.
Does he only eat chicken?
Yes. He only eats he'll only eat the
boneless
little buffalo not buffalo like buffalo bites, like the little chicken nugget bites, not
like what they
boneless
call
wings.
boneless
Yeah,
wings.
boneless wings. Yeah.
Now, first of all, and I've said this a million times before,
and chicken tenders, but he won't eat.
There's also nothing wrong with eating boneless wings, right? There's nothing wrong. First, no. Listen to me. I would never choose them over getting wings. No, stop. You're not. You need to let me talk. What I'm saying is, if for some reason you go out somewhere and they say, hey, tonight we've got boneless wings for,
Sure, BOGO boneless, yeah.
Whatever it is, and it's a much better deal than just buying wings, then there is no judgment to me about the idea of you saying, okay, I'll take advantage of that. Choosing, all things being equal, choosing boneless wings over regular wings, not something I can get behind. I'll never understand that thought process. But the idea that, like, no, I refuse. I'll flatly never do it. No, stop. You're just showing your ass a little bit. You're trying to make it seem like you're a tough guy. Stop.
Well, I am a tough guy.
Right, thank you. That's a great point. I guess I forgot.
But also,
about that.
I do agree. Yeah, I mean, when I go, when it's Thursday night at Beat Ups, yeah, we'll take advantage of BOGO.
God love you for still going to Beat Ups.
Oh man, it is not. It's
that one disappeared.
They
from my
fell off.
life.
They fell off pretty quick.
I mean, and by the way, it's a shame too, because the rise.
When did they like start?
Mid 2000s, mid aughts. I mean, like the mid. I remember.
They're still. I haven't heard of any like closing down.
No.
That's
They're not closing down.
Yeah.
They just
lost.
settled in on what they were. Like, at first, the idea was this is a little bit different, and then very quickly, like there was nothing more there. The wings were meh, and that was the problem. Is that was all they really had, and then the wings were just eh. The sauces still.
Well,
cool.
yeah, if they remember to put enough sauce on.
I get it. Well, sometimes they go the other way too. Like, sometimes it's just they.
I wish to have that problem.
I've had some gloop. Like, I've ordered some Asian zing, because the Asian zing was always a winner to me, and the other one, the pepper parmesan. Pepper parmesan's decent. But yeah.
1982 apparently was the first.
Oh, they didn't really. When did they actually like spread? I remember like there was an uprising around like 04 to 08.
When was
somewhere
the
in that
Buffalo
range.
Wild Wings
like,
boom?
It was they shot up and they started being one on every street corner. And I don't they have like aren't they owned by the same company as Dave and Buster's? And isn't there a relationship between those two things?
Looks like they're recruiting or they're alluding to the late 90s and then early 2000s was when it started popping up.
That sounds about right. That sounds about
everywhere.
Right. But I say that to say, in certain circumstances, I can absolutely understand if for financial reasons you choose to eat boneless wings. But if there's nothing like that going on and you choose to eat, chicken nuggets to the point over getting some wings, then yeah, like you should be on a no-fly list. And we had a person like that in our lives when we were at the old radio station. A young man was given the opportunity got a sales job and was doing well with sales, so he was elevated and became like the sales director despite being like 24 or 25 or something like that. But he was doing a good job, so nobody was angry about it until the first time you went on a sales meeting with him. And you went to meet someone at like a seafood restaurant.
Sure. Red Lobster.
And he's a fine seafood restaurant, correct. Long John Silver's. Steve, God, you gotta talk to Steve Johnson to figure out if he wants to do like a weekly or like maybe a 5 minutes every. Because like Steve and I just end up texting each other so much, and I end up referencing that, and he becomes like a character on the show without it being spoken somehow. He was going on to me about how we have to try something at Long John Silver's recently. Hang on a second. What was it? I know, and I was, but I have heard this before.
Long John Silver was people like Long John.
There was
Hush Puppies.
No, it was the chicken. What are your thoughts on Long John Silver's? He texted me. I said, I've been to Long John Silver's in 20 years. Is there one around here?
Is it Long John Silver Taco Bell?
He's yeah. I looked this up. He said, I've never been because I've always thought gross fast food fish, but supposedly their chicken tender basket is blowing people away. So I poked around on the internet.
There's a Long John Taco Bell in Cherry Hill.
He's right. Like if you search Long John Silver chicken tenders or chicken basket or whatever it is, people rave about this product. Like rave about it. And so he texts, he's like, I'm weighing my options for how far I'd be willing to go to drive to a Long John Silver's. And I would make this trip. I would do it. But no, we went to this young man who was the sales director. We would go to like a real seafood establishment. And, you're out for lunch, so you're not going to order like crazy, but you're still going to try to order like an adult, right?
$6, so is that the thing with the Long John Silver's?
I guess it might be.
I mean, I guess, okay, if it's a $6 basket, sure.
But it's not, I don't think it's just the price. I think people actually genuinely think it's very good. Anyway, moral of the story being.
You get 2 chicken tenders.
You
get 2 Hush Puppies.
Would you settle down over there? You're worried about the number. I think it's the quality of the food that people are talking about.
It's Long John Silver's. It can't.
I know you're saying that, but actually read what people are saying on the internet.
Nah. I've made my decision.
This guy would go, and I'd be like, I'll have the shrimp scampi. Something that, like,
okay,
you'd order something real, but not, like, you're not going to order the filet. Right. You're not going to get the surf and turf
lobster,
for lunch. Yeah. Like, that's not the way it's going to go. But you try to order something real because you're out at a nice seafood restaurant for lunch. And then he'd say, and can I have the chicken nuggets?
The chicken nuggets?
Straight shoot. Can I have a mac and cheese?
With that.
You're at a sales meeting with a real client.
The plate has to be
trying
yellow.
to pitch them on spending 6 figures. And the gentleman that's responsible for completing the sale is ordering a Kool-Aid.
Gotta pretend to eat a salad, I guess. Right? Is that
my brother-in-law has a similar problem. Now he's not nearly this bad. But he would like genuinely like want applesauce. Like we would go somewhere and he'd order and he would really want an applesauce with his meal. Now, he would order real food. Like he wouldn't just don't get me wrong, he loves spaghetti. Regularly wants spaghetti. But he would genuinely order like an applesauce. We just look at him like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, those types, don't trust those types. Can't do it. Anything else we had to cover today besides nobody posting? Well, that's not true. We had great conversations with Ryan O'Hearn and Jordan Phillips. I enjoyed them both. They were both very good.
No, I think that's...
All right, then.
That's
Why don't we go ahead and get a tidbit?
Browns are still undecided, apparently, what they're doing with the number 2 pick.
This is
according to Andrew Barry.
All of you that are this is the subterfugiest of subterfuge season. Everything that you yesterday, I think Albert Breer did a video where he was talking about the Saints taking Jackson Dart.
So apparently Andrew Barry met with the media, I guess, this morning. He compared Travis Hunter to Ohtani.
Yeah, they had everybody has their liar thing, right? Like everybody does it.
Okay.
It's all nonsense. Nothing. You've learned nothing.
So the Browns are taking Abdul Carter.
Maybe. Who knows? God, it's annoying. Well, the more annoying part is the idea that somehow this works out with the Steelers getting a quarterback. That's very annoying to me. All right, let's get a tidbit. What do you got? By the way, and I did bring up the print issue of Press Box. It is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. Go ahead.
There was baseball last night. So I wanted to get in. I hadn't even finished reading this one yet from Sarah Langs, but with so yesterday Jackson Holliday hit a home run, as did Spencer Torkelson. Mickey Moniak hit a home run. Henry Davis hit a home run. Bryce Harper also hit a home run.
So it's the most 1-1s that ever.
It is the 6th time, that 5 1-1s have homered on the same day. There have been 2 occasions where there were 6 1-1s that hit home runs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
May 26th, 1999.
Did you see the one about there are 2 players in baseball history that have hit multiple grand slams at 21 or younger?
Yeah, I did. I think I saw that one. Or wait, maybe, or I saw a different maybe it was just an Orioles one that maybe
okay.
I saw though.
Only 2 players not in history, this decade.
Okay.
Have hit multiple grand slams that were 21 years old or younger.
This decade.
Yes, this decade.
When did Acuna come up? Ronald Acuna.
Not Ronald Acuna.
When did he come up in? Did he come up before or after the hit?
I think he might have come up in 19
okay.
maybe.
Vladdy came up before the pandemic. So 20-year-old this decade, 21-year-old.
Yeah, he actually made his debut in 18, Ronald Acuna.
Oh, wow. Ellie De La Cruz.
What if I told you that there's a common thread between the 2 people that have done it?
Gunnar Henderson?
They're not both Orioles.
Oh, okay.
There's a different common thread.
That they're both named Holiday?
Well, not...
Major League Baseball players.
Major League Baseball players.
That hit 2 grand slams.
You were really close with your last guess. Really close to what the common thread is.
That he's related to Holiday?
The other part of that, the sentence that you said.
Jackson Churio.
Jackson Churio.
Jackson Churio.
Is the other.
Jackson Brothers.
Yeah, it's the Jackson Brothers, correct.
That's a good one. I saw that
was from Matt Wyrick.
Sarah Langs had one that was he is the second Oriole to hit 2 of his first 7 career home runs are grand slams.
Manny.
No.
Cal Ripken.
No.
Boog Powell.
No.
Brooks Robinson.
No.
Eddie Murray.
And now I'm realizing that you're just guessing all the names that are going to be on my actual tidbit.
Oh, yeah?
But,
okay, so just tell me so we can get to the...
Brian Roberts.
Who would have thought?
2 grand slams.
Who would have
thought?
First
7 career homers. And then I was going to broaden my question then for you tidbit-wise here. I was going to go to most grand slams by an Oriole.
Oh, okay. That's good. So, yeah, I guess it is that group of players that I'm going to guess.
There have been 6 guys that have hit 6 or more grand slams in their Orioles career.
6 or more grand slams. All right. How about, Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken hit 8 of them. And he is tied for, so number 1 on the list hit 16. And then there's 4 guys with 8, with exactly 8 grand slams. Cal had 8.
Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray had the most in Orioles history.
He had 16?
16 grand slams.
Stan ran him out of town. Brooks.
No, Brooks
didn't hit a
not.
Well, he didn't hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
It's the part, but the longevity is the part that would make you say.
Brooks hit. Brooks hit less than 3.
Yeah, I mean that's not stunning because of the home runs thing, but you just I think we're gonna end up with guys on the list that hit 300 or fewer home runs as Orioles because there's not that many players that hit more than 300 home runs as Orioles. Manny Machado.
Manny hit 8 as well.
I remember one of them. I remember the one that was in the 8th inning. I remember that one. when they were down by 3. I remember the most famous Grand Slam in Orioles history was Chris Hoyles, but I don't think he hit enough to be on this list. Chris Hoyles.
Chris Hoyles had 8.
Did he really?
He had 8 Grand Slams.
Hit the most famous Grand Slam in Orioles history. Boog Powell.
Boog did not hit at least 6 of them. Boog hit. Wow, Boog had. He's not. I don't. I have the top 25 in front of me. Boog not in the top 25 along with Brooks.
Adam Jones.
No, not Adam Jones.
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis had 8 Grand Slams.
Didn't he hit one on opening day?
Probably.
I think
He hit a lot on opening day.
I mean, Rafael Palmeiro.
Mm-mm.
How many am I missing? I got 5.
Yeah, one more.
Ken Singleton.
No.
Frank Robinson.
Ken hit 5. No Frank Robinson.
Did I say Manny?
Palmeiro
I said
hit 4.
Manny. I said Manny. Santander.
Santander hit 4.
Mark Reynolds.
No Mark Reynolds.
Brian Roberts.
Brian Roberts
Yeah,
hit 6
I guess
Grand
because
Slams. Yes, 6 Grand Slams as an Oriole for Brian Roberts.
Should've
Top
gotten
6
there.
Gary Renicky had 5. Lee May had 5. Doug
about it?
DeSenses had
How about it?
had 5 as well.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. Orioles do play that rubber match against the Guardians tonight at 6:35. Tanner Bybee, Tomo Sagano, the pitching matchup. That's on Masson. Masson will also have Nationals Pirates at 12:35, with that game also being on MLB Network in the rest of the country. MLB Network locally will have Mariners Reds at 12:40. Then Angels Rangers joined in progress tonight at 9:30. Why would they be joining in progress tonight? That would normally mean there's another national TV game on somewhere, but nobody has national. That's weird. Whatever. I'm not going to obsess over it.
Well,
ESPN.
They got to do like what, Fantasy 411 or something?
Well, no, but like normally when that happens, it's because like they give them the exclusive national window to like FS1 for a game at 7 o'clock, so they can't start until 9:30. But I don't see any other.
There's no game after 8, right?
I don't see any baseball game being listed as being on national TV. So I don't know, dog. This is maybe above my pay grade. Oh no, there is the Royals and that's the answer. Royals Tigers 6:40 on FS1. That's the answer. That's the reason why nobody cared, but I got to the bottom of it. You're welcome. I'm your hero.
Thank you.
I'm your champion. ESPN is Capitals Penguins final night of the NHL regular season. Capitals Penguins 7 o'clock. Flames Kings 9:30. Golf round 1 right now of the Punta Cana Champion. Apparently the PGA is running 2 different events this weekend. They were like, you like the Masters so much, here's all of the golf. They got the Punta Cana Championship, and then starting at 2, the RBC Heritage. And then Access TV for TNA Impact at 8. Non-sports.
Let's start Thursday stuff. We got Dr. Odyssey on
that's
on
the
ABC.
boat. That's
the boat.
The Love Boat.
Hacks, new episode of that on Max.
Do enjoy it.
Gotta go to
but
Max.
it's not until 9.
Yeah, not until 9.
It's annoying.
Not until 9. I mean, that's how TV works, or at least used to.
Yeah, used to.
We got Ransom Canyon out on Netflix. That's the
Hell yeah.
Minka Kelly, the
right.
Josh Duhamel.
What happened? Why is this when Minka Kelly's coming back into our lives?
I don't know.
Was the gift
Can't tell
basket from Derek Jeter that good that like she just kind of went away for forever?
And yeah, not really a whole lot else elsewhere. Jimmy Kimmel will have John Bernthal on along with Asif Ali and Sagar Shaikh. Those are the 2 guys from Deli Boys.
Deli Boys. We were just talking about that. I would watch Deli Boys. That should be on my list.
It does look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's just.
I don't think it's gonna be The Gentleman. The Gentleman is
a
top-notch program.
John Bernthal's in Accountant 2.
What is it?
Accountant 2. The Accountant 2.
Oh, The Accountant 2.
Yes. I think, does he play the brother? I don't know. Colbert will have...
Should do more of him on The Bear, because
Colbert.
his episodes of The Bear are good, unlike the last season of The Bear, which was...
Joe Manganiello and another senator out on Colbert, Raphael Warnock.
Senator from Georgia.
Oh, of course, you know that. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, and I know things. You want to know what they're plugging? They're plugging Deli Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Joe Manganiello and
Nice.
Senator Raphael Warnock are plugging
Guess
Deli
we're
Boys.
getting a new
yeah.
season of Deli Boys soon. I don't know why they're.
Well, just
I know. I feel like
I
it
feel like it hasn't been out for that long. I think people are just like noticing it. Maybe. Is
Yeah,
really
well,
what
if
it
their
is.
senators are coming on to plug it, then.
Well, they're fans. Raphael Warnock really enjoys Deli Boys. It's an inspiring story about a crime family.
Right.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah, it just came out. Yeah, I guess they're just repushing it. All right.
That it?
Yeah, that's it.
Very good. Thanks today to Jordan Phillips and to Rhino Hearn.
Fighting words.
We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Can you take me higher?
tab at glennclarkradio.com. Honestly, that's a fine show. It was a fine show as is. It just would have been, for pacing reasons, would have been good to know. Coming up tomorrow, Stan the Fan is back. Michael Pierce. I actually wrote about Michael Pierce in this print issue of Press Box just to sing his praises as he announced his retirement from the NFL. I've been meaning to do it for a little while, but Michael Pierce will join us tomorrow to talk about his retirement from the league.
Isaiah
Watts, incoming Maryland basketball transfer, and stuff and things.
Yeah, Tyler Tejada again.
Oh, yeah. Scheduled to be
This
joined.
is his last chance.
But this is it. Well, we can't get fooled again.
I don't have it ready.
Tomorrow on the program. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, Brigant's Brigade, Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.